The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
The top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Tuesday night here on Beyond Wednesdays, another Industry of Comics, episode 96, on the first day, or first show of the new year, 2026. So,
Welcome
pretty nice,
back.
right?
I got an announcement to make, guys. First of all, new year, new Dennis. I'm closing all my stores and I'm opening up daycare centers. I've realized that I've been doing everything wrong. Despite the court order that I can't be that close to that many children, I'm still going to open daycare centers. That's the first announcement.
Yeah.
I'll save the rest of the announcements for later today.
All right. I love it.
The Industry of Daycare show.
Listen, 2026 starting off with a bang, or is it 2025 ending with an even bigger bang? The deafening bang. Is there such thing? A deafening bang? Like it's so loud it blows your eardrums out. That's the deafening bang of the comic book industry in 2025. And that bang is also saying disconnect. If you listen very closely, that ringing in your head is just over and over and over. Disconnect. Disconnect.
You know, there's a point, Brian, when you're driving your car and you got that tachometer, and that tachometer keeps going up, and then it goes back, and then it goes up. And there's a point at which that tachometer stays in the red, and you just hear the weirdest noises. The loudest, most concerning noises you could possibly hear. And that's right before the engine blows a fucking rod and you're on the side of the fucking road. We're right about here right now.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about most recent news. And that is the continuing ongoing saga of the ultimate Endgame Blind Bag debacle. And man, if it couldn't get any worse for Marvel, I don't know what it is at this point, because they announced right as everybody was opening up these bags and showing how badly damaged everything was, they announced that Robert Downey Jr. had put sketches into said bags. What a fucking a mistake and a debacle. And I got a little bit of new news, and I you know, the good thing about having a comics based show on YouTube is you hear things from comics people, and that includes collectors, that includes retailers, that includes industry vets, creators. And I heard a little story from a retailer that did not surprise me one bit. It gave me a little update on everything that is going on with the blind bags. And I want to go through that. And the first thing I want to say is that it's pretty sad that at the end of the year, Marvel has this big, huge thing to hang their hat on. And basically, they go out to vacation. And I don't blame them for going out vacation. What I blame them for is making sure that this didn't have any issues. Especially with all the things we knew about Marvel and the mystery, or the comic pack fulfillment process that Whatnot went through with their comic packs and showed how well it can be done. And Marvel to forget all of that and go, you know what we're going to do, you guys? We're going to go to a printer that probably has never done this on the level that we're asking. And we're going to buy new machinery for said printer to do this fulfillment with. And gonna send somebody down there, a high-ranking Marvel official, down to said printer to check in on the bagging process and make sure it's all working well, and report no problems. Now, if I was to tell you two that right now on this show before telling it to you in our meeting the other day, what would your thought process on that be?
You want to go first, Emmett?
Yeah, somebody didn't do their job.
No. Hold on. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a half a second. I bet you he went down there and said, "Hey, you got the new Flim Flam Bagger 3000 here? Okay, make sure the setting is at 21, not 22, 21, and make sure the oscillator is at 51. Okay, not 52, 51. All right, run off a couple of those. Oh, perfect. All right, print 300,000 and don't check the machine again, because machines have tolerances. Every machine. And as that machine printed, the 21 went to 22, and the 22 went to 23, and the 23 went to 24. And as it went chunk, it went to 55, it went to 60, it went to 80. Crack. And nobody was around because they checked it at the beginning, they hit start, and they didn't look at another one after that.
That's somebody not doing their job.
Well, yeah,
It's
but
that
you know,
simple.
he did his job at one point, is what I'm saying. Maybe he did his job at one point, but he didn't come back and check it.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's true or not. What I will say is exactly. What I will say
that's
is,
2025 in a nutshell.
Wow.
And most of you guys unfortunately didn't get to hear that, but don't worry. Let me replay that sound for you guys, just so you know what we are laughing at. Thank you to Kyle with the $20 super chat. He says, "Love your channel. Keep up the great work, bro." Shout out to Lord Zero too, who also gifted 10 memberships a few days ago that I didn't get to see.
Oh, wow.
So thank you, brother. Listen, here's what I will say. I think you're 100% right, Dennis. I think that machines have goblins. No matter how good and how well you think that your machine has been kept up, or how well you think it's running, goblins
It's brand
appear.
spanking new.
Yeah.
Right? We heard that the Marvels put all the money up to put that machine in the printers.
Yeah.
But they didn't run it. They didn't
Right.
run it for 300,000 copies. They didn't run it for whatever the tolerances that machine needed to be checked. At some point, yeah, I mean, we had one retailer say that they didn't have any damages, didn't they?
Emmett's the only one, yeah.
Right. There's got to be more. But
I
what
haven't
I'm
heard.
saying is,
Well, maybe there might be a couple of people that put comments.
I heard
in
a
the
couple
thing,
people say,
but
that,
every retailer that I've talked to that's ordered on a large scale, 200 or more bags, has seen multiple hardcore damages, and we've seen proof of it on every video.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yep.
I only ordered 20.
I ordered 5 and I got to open them today. And I got one of the Wolverine Spider-Man cover. I got one of the kind of regular cover. I got 2 of the Peach Momokos, and I got one of the sketch variants. The blank. Not one of the actual, the blank.
So
every
far,
one of them, minimum 5 giant spine ticks.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, it was just like, there was one of them had 2 that went from the spine over at least 2 to 3 inches.
I thought the mix sucked. You know, I bought 20, and they came in 2 different boxes, 10 in one box and 10 in the other.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much, I've got the A cover, the sketch cover, and the Spider-Man Wolverine cover. That's it.
Yep.
And a bunch of A covers. A bunch more A covers.
Why
did they put A covers in there at all? That's fucking asinine.
Here's the thing. Brian, you've had 2 solid weeks of content off of this. Last week, I said it's going to go to the first of the quarter, and that's when they're going to be able to eat and absorb this. They got to show the corporate masters that they had this huge
fourth quarter
influx,
huge hit. Yeah.
huge hit. They're going to refund it all. And literally, when we do the end of the year wrap up in 2026, this won't even be a super chat in the wind. No one will remember this because all the retailers were made whole. People can order the regular book to read it. And Sean Hidachko is going to get 10 G's, 20 G's for that Robert Downey Jr. sketch.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
no one's going to care.
Well, I don't know if you can't really see them, but there are spine just crushed all over this thing. They are absolutely crushed. There must be 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a 1 of 1. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
if it was in good condition, bad condition, it's still a 1 of 1.
So there are some that are reporting that they didn't have any damages. I don't know how that is possible, other than at some point towards the end of the fulfillment process, they realized that there was problems and went back and fixed said problems. Okay. That's the only reason I can think of it, because the vast majority of people I've talked to, and I've talked to quite a few retailers, I'm talking probably 10 or more about this, that have ordered on big scales. And here's one of the biggest problems to me. One of the biggest problems to me is, how are they made whole by Marvel? Dennis and Emmett and Jesse, if Jesse was here, how are they made whole? Because here's the problem. Bleeding Cool put a post up the other day saying that Marvel is going to refund Ultimate Endgame, but only if you rip the entire cover off. Now, here's what I'm getting at. As a retailer, I've heard that a lot of retailers live off the next week's capital, right? If that makes sense. Is that the best way to put it? Like, what's the best? Basically, you're ordering next week's stuff off of what you're going to make the week ahead type money. Deal. Yeah. And they have already taken a ton of money from people who have ordered. If you're a retailer and you've had, say, 100 orders of blind bags, that's a lot of money. If you've had even more, say you're a huge retailer and you sold 500 of them, you're not going to want to return, or you're not going to want to give your patrons damaged product. So you're going to have to rip off these covers, spend all that time to open all those bags, rip them off, destroy said property. What a fucking waste of time that is, and effort that you got to go through. And here's the other big part about that. What are you going to give to the retailers, Marvel, to make that okay? Because that is a lot of time and effort wasted on something that was supposed to be their big nut at the end of the 2026. Yeah. Is that how they're going to do it? Credit with the Daredevil blind bag? Yeah. What's the deal? Let me go grab something. I'll be right back.
I've never gotten cash back from any of the companies. Once they get your cash, it's a credit.
It's what we've tried to explain to Brian for now almost 2 years. This is what, episode 96 or 97 or something. Retailing in the comic industry is about wasting tons and tons of time to fix somebody else's problem. Yeah. You get your comics in damaged. I got to sit down and declare all the damages. They screw up a blind bag. You got to rip open 1,000 blind bags. The only benefit is if you get
a sketch,
a Robert Downey Jr. sketch, you don't have to return that. You don't have to rip that one. And sadly,
or any other sketch, if it's damaged, it's still going to be money.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. The point is, the entire rat race of being a comic retailer is about the industry wasting your time to make you fix their problems.
If you're living from comic week to comic week, close your doors.
Yeah, guys,
you're not really in business.
And I'm not trying to be a dick, and I'm not trying to brag, guys. I'm awakened. I've done comic retailing. This is coming into my 21st year. Okay. I've done it for almost 21 years. I've done all of the periphery stuff to this industry for that time and more. The one thing that's consistent is the new business model I had. I mean, go back 2 years. I am so much more relaxed. Go back 5 years. I am so much
This is more relaxed.
This is the most relaxed you've ever seen me. And it's because I gave up on the main brunt of what this industry does, which is waste retailers' time and make them get on a treadmill that powers their engine, not the retailer's engine.
Like the guys who just do comics, I get it. Like if you're just doing comics and you're surviving and you're doing well, that's great. But there's so much involved in that. There's so much research. There's so much reading. There's so much. You have to now, with how many distributors there are out there now, you have to know who's selling what, when it comes out. You no longer have 3 months out. Like you only have FOC now. I mean, you can look further down, but they don't have covers. It really isn't as good as it was. But you have to do the research. So all that time you're spending doing that, because they don't market their books to us or anybody else, really, except for the writers and the artists. So then I have to start going and following all these writers and artists to see what's coming out in 4 or 5 months. Who's going to be working on what. I have to do all that research. I got better things to do. Like I am still in the new comic business because it creates a lot of traffic for me.
I just like I said, it's part of it's black pill, part of it's white pill, part of it's whatever in between. I literally spent 30 minutes today directing one of my employees at Dystopia to go through our anime that's been sitting for over 2 years and just scan all of them and see if any of it has gone up in price. She found 40 different anime series that are now out of print and going for double, triple, and quadruple what I had it racked on the shelf for. I made more money in that 30 minutes than I would have sitting down and doing an FOC and doing an Instagram search of who's the hot artist that's going to make the hot cover that might make me this if I throw a bunch of money at the wind.
Did you see what Mutation Comics said?
We just got our replacements from PRH. Same problems. If this is the case, what the fuck is going on, comics industry? Marvel, you had the plan of attack on how to drop these blind bags, how to make them through your whatnot deal. You knew how to make these so they get into the hands of people without being damaged. You figured it out so well with whatnot. Did you not learn anything from that? That surprises me the most on this thing, you guys. And I know it doesn't surprise you, Dennis, because like you said, whether you're red pilled, black pilled, blue pilled, whatever, you've been in this a long time. But every time I continue to hear the industry fucking something up like this, it surprises me so much.
We take a lot of shit, Brian. We take a lot of shit for all of these gray hairs that Emmett and I and Jesse have. And you're getting a couple on your chinny chin chin there. Every one of these gray hairs was something in the comic industry that fucked me 20 years ago. Okay. And the fact that I remember these old stories, these ancient fucking stories, means that I'm insulated against the next one that comes out and the next one. Dude, Emmett was sitting next to me when they started showing all of these awesome sketches that you could get in these.
Yep.
I didn't think once, oh man, I need to order 1,000. I might get a Peach Momoko 1-of-1 sketch. I'm over it. I'll wait at the convention if I want a Peach Momoko sketch and try to make a deal. It's not worth.
It'll come through the door.
Yeah.
It'll come through the door at some point.
Yep.
It'll make it to New York in my area, and somebody will come in and go, listen, I got to pay my electric bill. What do you give me for it?
Yeah, but will it continue to come through the door if DC and Marvel go, we're done? There's no money-making opportunity in it for us. We're not making any money off this. It's not but a hassle.
Oh, you mean for the blind bags?
For future any comic other than what's already been printed, anything.
That's one of the things that I've been listening to a lot of the not comic YouTubers, but the industry, the entertainment industry YouTubers that know a little something about the comic industry. They are all in on, if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, this is going to get outsourced to somebody else and they will not give a shit. And you're not going to have that industry of DC comics being helmed by people who understand comics. You're going to get it by an independent publisher or some
same people that ruined
publisher.
Star Wars, right? I don't
think there's those people are running comics now. They're in positions of power. Comic people are but they're not actually making the decisions. There's no way.
I agree, Emmett. So that's going to segue into
exactly
our other story
that brings us to our next story, and that is what 2025 was. How do we look at 2025 in our end of the year wrap ups and other people's end of the year wrap ups? We're going to start seeing more and more end of the year wrap ups. I don't know if Bleeding Cool has done one yet. I got to check. I know Heidi did one at the Beat that we're going to talk about. But there's going to be a lot of end of the year wrap ups. There's already been some. And there has been some glaring omissions from end of the year stuff. And to be honest, I'm not surprised on some of them. Some of them I'm very surprised. Some of them I'm not. And I think it'd be interesting to go over some of these lists. And I definitely want to go over Heidi's from the Comics Beat. Now, we got to look at this because these are written from different angles. And I get that. But here is one of my biggest things that I've been talking about for a long time. And I don't know if I'm right or I'm wrong. I feel like I'm right. I feel like it's the case. And that I've been saying that the comics industry is vastly disconnected from what the buying class wants, from what the people who are buying collectibles and comics wants. The comic book industry is disconnected. One of the most glaring disconnections I see is that they do not understand, especially publishers and distributors, that comics are not looked at as periodical art reading material anymore. They're looked at as collectibles. And they don't treat them like collectibles. And the people who are the collectible buyers are the vast majority of people buying the product these days. Now, I could be wrong about that. That's how I feel. That's most of the people that I know that buy stuff, that's why they're buying it. People still read comic books. I'm not saying that they don't read comic books.
That's the problem, Brian, with this particular blind bag situation. And we talked about it on the show. We talked about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one, and we talked about Mark Spears, both of Mark Spears. Mark made sure that his blind bags had 85 to 75 different covers that you could, as a Mark Spears fan, want to collect all of them. Okay. But if you're going to rip 1,000 covers, 1,000 bags of Ultimate Endgame, and you're going to get one of, what did we decide? 6 or 8 different covers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get 20 of every cover, 15 of every cover. Yeah. What are you going to do with 15 of your least favorite cover? You're going to throw it in a dollar box and make your money off of the sketch that you hopefully got.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I definitely.
And then when you devalue the product that hard, because it's now become a chase, it becomes, who's the worst player in the NBA right now, Brian? You know, not me, or baseball.
I don't know. Yeah.
Whatever. It becomes that card when you rip 2 cases of the thing.
Yeah.
When you look at, exactly. When you look at the 800 cards that they made in 1989 for Upper Deck, there's 5 cards that are worth any money, and there's Ken Griffey Jr.
Right.
Okay. And the other 795 cards are worthless. And that's what you start to become when you start caring about the collectible nature of these ripping the blind bags.
Yeah. So collections have historically been, they just show up because you've been reading books weekly. And then you turn around and you have 10 boxes full of comics because you've been reading for 5 years. Right now you're a collector because they're just there. Because most people don't come back with their books from last week and go, I'd like credit for these, please. They keep them.
Yeah.
Those are the collectors. If you're buying 5 issues of a variant because you think it'll be $20 next week, that's a speculator. You're not going to open them. You're going to bag them right away. They do not sustain any industry. They will come and go as the quality of the product or the value that they can get out of it comes and goes.
Yeah, I think
if you're buying it for the art, buy the original art. Just save up the money and start buying original art. It's the same insides. They all have the same insides.
Funny you should say that.
I want to key in on, I don't want, we love Heidi over here. Heidi has been on the show. I got a lot of, we all have respect for Heidi. She is a long time a staple in this industry, and she is important to this industry, and everything that she does at that the Comics Beat does, we want to continue to happen. So I want to make sure that this doesn't come off as us taking shots at Heidi, because we love Heidi. And
I'll preface it one other way. Sometimes you're so deep into the weeds,
yes,
you don't understand what's happening around you.
Yeah.
And it would be different if, like, Heidi a year ago, 13 months ago, had smelled the problems at Diamond and reported on it. But she didn't report on a single thing until the announcement that they went bankrupt. We were talking about, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem right. This seems like this is a big red flag before that, because I think we're so out of the weeds that we can see it above.
Yeah.
And I think she doesn't see what's really going on in this industry when I read that list.
Well, I think that there's this, from at least my outlook, it's the industry versus the buyers in my outlook, right? I look at the industry as like, they have their ways of doing things and the buyers have our way of doing things, and they just don't see it. And that's one of the reasons why the industry is faltering, in my opinion, right? But I want to key in on this, that it feels very inside baseball. It feels very, and the reason for that is because it's surveys from, she did surveys for this article between creators in the industry. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is,
Emmett, did you get your invite?
I did not get my.
Hold on. I don't think I got mine either.
Yeah. And there is this growing divide between industry insiders talking to each other and the actual buying audience keeping comics alive, in my opinion. And I'm just going to come out and say it. I one of the people on the list, I actually went and did a podcast with them the other day. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And that was what I brought up in the podcast. I said, I feel like the disconnect is so strong that is the glaring thing that I learned from 2025 that I hope doesn't happen in 2026. So let's get into this article. This is announcing the 2025 Comics Industry Person of the Year, Marie Javins. Now, I'm going to first get this out of the way because I don't have much to talk about Marie. I don't know much about Marie. I know she's an editor for DC. She's a longtime editor over at DC, I believe, right? Veteran comic book, former colorist. She worked at Marvel early in her career and moved on to editorial leadership roles. She became editor-in-chief at DC in 2020, and she basically gives the editor, and in my opinion, it's kind of crazy, not a writer or an artist being Person Honor of the Year, which is interesting and makes me, look at it. Okay, this is industry talking to industry. So that is one of the things that I have in my head when reading this. And I get it that an EIC shapes the industry versus individual creators, but it still feels like there's this huge disconnect between editors and what the buying public wants, even editors, in my opinion. So obviously DC's performance in 2025 was massive. The absolute books are saving DC Comics. Exactly.
Like, what about their regular line? What does she do to resurrect the regular line?
That's the thing. Name me, Brian, and I know you're actually, aside from Red Hood, which had controversy, which drove that, and Batman Absolute, name me 5 of the best regular series at DC last year.
Well, a lot of them were short series. So Dark Patterns was really
Dark
well
Patterns
written
was
and
great. Yes.
was great, and it did well, but it was only 12 issues.
Yep.
Right. So it's
Yep.
not an ongoing series. Most of the other ones have been in
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin year 1 was okay. Again, it's a mini series.
Yep.
The regular Batman and Robin has been good and back and forth. Aquaman has gotten better now, but just recently, so you can't say all of 2025.
Yeah, Aquaman was actually really good in 2025, though, to be honest. Yeah. It's like better than it's almost ever been since the Peter David run, right?
Superman hasn't been. Jonathan Kent is completely gone.
He's died. They ruined that character. They almost ruined Damian, but Damian is, I love the Damian Bruce dynamic.
I've left you drone on here. You're not missing my point.
But I get what you're saying. Yes, there's nothing really else at DC that we're talking about other than Absolute.
Right. And the thing is we're only talking about Absolute, Batman, maybe Wonder Woman. The coattails are very short on Scott Snyder's universe. I know they sell for Emmett, and Emmett likes them, but look at that cover price list. How many non-Scott Snyder Batmans made any of those lists?
Well, let's talk about this. Let's just go through the rest of everybody on the list real quick.
Absolute Man of the Year.
Person of the Year is Marie Javrins, which is the editor-in-chief at
here's
DC.
The thing. I just want to put in one more thing. Maybe I'm missing the story where Marie Javrins gets the script for Absolute Batman and then walks it into Jim's office, and Jim's like, no, I'm fucking done with Scott Snyder. No. And she slams that on his desk and says, Jim, if you don't fucking publish this, I'm walking. This is the best book that's come across my desk. Okay, I'll do it.
If that's the case, you're right. Yeah.
If that's the case.
Yep.
Person of the decade.
It makes me wonder.
One story about that.
Yeah, I don't know how this guy right here does not take Person of the Year in comics. And here's the best part about it. In my opinion, there is a glaring omission from this list, and you guys will all know this list. And even with that glaring omission, in my opinion, he should have been Person of the Year. But I get why Scott Snyder should be Person of the Year also.
You mean somebody who actually outsold KO #1?
Yes, from out of nowhere. Okay.
From out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Cinderella story?
Yeah, Cinderella story. Yep. That even I'm sure Scott Snyder would fall in love with that story. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think Scott Snyder should have been the Person of the Year. Marketer of the Year. Here's the Adam Freeman.
What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? I got to start looking at the pre-show.
Well, listen, it's very easy to win when it's a race of one.
Well, here's the thing. You
How
guys
many
know
marketing companies are comic marketing companies are there?
That's true.
One.
Yes.
You know what? Snake oil still smells like snake oil.
Listen, I know this is always a hot button topic with this crew, but you guys know I like Adam. I think Adam.
I do too.
And I know you guys, I know you do too, Emmett. Dennis, I have a ton of respect for because Dennis actually went up to him in San Diego and said, "Hey, you did good this year with the V-Friends thing." So I give a lot of credit to Dennis.
And
I don't know.
Did he say?
I don't know. I wasn't there for it.
I forget it was, but I know he shit on you.
I wasn't there for it. So.
Yeah, no, he literally took a compliment that I finally fucking gave him a compliment, and he took it and in front of them. And they winced when he said it and turned it back into an insult.
Well,
to me.
but listen, this could be a beef between you guys throughout the year. So I get that. I'm not going to sit here and key in on that. But I got to be honest. I don't know marketing in comics. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? What does marketing in comics mean?
Hold on, Brian. I'll tell you what it means. Did Prana and Adam Freeman push a comic book to the #1 selling blind bag of the year twice? Because I'll tell you what marketing means. It means talking about something on a weekly show 4 times a week, getting retailers to order it, getting customers to demand it from their retailers, and having those retailers actually order it, covering the live opening of the show or of the book twice. I'm sorry, Brian. You're more of the marketer of the fucking year than this piece of horse shit.
Hey, Adam, listen, man, I got to tell you, I went, this is for everybody. This is what I was talking about. I went on Adam's podcast. He's got a podcast he does too. And he asked me, he said, what do I think is needed in 2026? And I told him, I said, the disconnect is strong from the big publishers. They need to be more connected to the buying base. And I think that was a surprise to him. But here's what I will give him credit for. In that interview, he said to me, he goes, you know what? I don't look at things the same way that you guys do on your show. And maybe I need to start more. And I'll give him credit for that, for saying that, because that's important, because I think that needs to happen. So I'll say that. Honorable mention, Jim Lee. I don't know what Jim did this year other than stand up against AI at New York.
That's it. Well, he's part of DC, so he gets credit for Absolute also.
Right.
But, I mean, I think Jim is just a glad hand. He doesn't.
Yeah, but it took a lot, and the later one will be the one that's important. But Jim, it took a lot for Jim to take the stance that he took, despite the fact that no one was around to watch him say it.
Right.
Jim's speech about AI was the first fucking spine that I've seen in this industry to be able to stand up and specifically say why they are against it and what they are going to do to oppose it and why they will win.
Well, let me
that
tell
is
you,
important.
The minute you see Jim say, "Oh, I'm retiring," which I think might be this year, AI will be right behind it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying is Jim, I don't think he did a whole lot this year. I mean, he definitely helped push Hush, which I haven't heard a ton of after the initial launch, but it is selling well.
Still waiting on the end.
Yeah, it's
February.
Dude, if you thought Jim Lee was going to get a fucking book out on time,
I know.
You don't have enough gray hair.
Yeah.
This right here is All-Star Batman and Robin #10. That right there. That's waiting for All-Star Batman and Robin #10.
What about Master Race? Did that ever finish? I don't even know.
I don't know, but I love Jim. Don't get me wrong.
We all love Jim. And again, we're not.
And it took a lot of passion to say what he said at New York.
Yes.
And that goes a long way because I've sat with Emmett through 2 of the biggest events at this industry in the last year. Okay. And not one person stood up and made an argument of why they are trying to lead the industry. Nobody but Jim right there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Continuing. Writer of the year, Dennis Camp, which I think we talked about the other night. This is surprising to me. This is the Assorted Crisis Events.
Yeah.
Was
the
number 2
book.
Was the number 2 book on the hot list, but there is no idea. Nobody has any idea why it's trending. Nobody. There's no option news, nothing. It sounds like there's some fuckery going on. But Dennis Camp wrote.
Did he sell 1 million comic books over the last year?
That's what I'm going to get at, right? Okay, so we have Dennis Camp in there for Writer of the Year. I could think of 5 more writers that were more important to comics than Dennis Camp.
Kirkman,
Williamson, Daniel Warren Johnson, Mark's fucking Spears, right? Okay, like just for the amount of books that he's sold, and James Tynion. Yeah, like I get it. Listen, I'm a homer for Mark, so we can take him off the list so I don't get crucified. But when it comes to person of the year, he needs to be somebody thought of, and we'll get into that in a second.
In the chat, Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, Rob
Liefeld had an incredible year this year.
Yeah. So I feel like that's very interesting. The fighters.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either. But I'm sure Heidi will tell us. So Chloe, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher these names, so I don't want to butcher them. I apologize, but I don't know what that means. Creators of the year: Caitlin McGurk, Carol Tyler, and Dav Pilkey, the Dogman guy.
Yeah, well, he's the Dogman. I honestly don't consider him the comic industry. He is
Dave
this
Pilkey?
scholastic.
Yeah.
What do you call that? YA. He's the YA industry.
Well, here's
It's
James
Scholastic's
Tynan
books.
and Joshua Williamson, which is nice to see them in there. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know, I this is just so off to me. Publishers, okay, publishers of the year. It's a 3-way tie. McFarlane, Mark London, and Nick Barucci. Now,
McFarlane's the president. He's not the publisher.
Yeah, Eric Stevenson is a publisher.
Stevenson runs the whole fucking thing.
exactly.
In fact, Todd is the first person to say that.
Yeah.
Nick, I give Nick a lot of credit for keeping Dynamite afloat over the fucking bullshit
Yeah.
he's had to go through.
Hell yeah.
And you know, if that is a level or a vote for him as publisher of the year, then put that in my vote, because Nick to me did more as a publisher keeping Dynamite afloat than most others. But here's the problem: where is Skybound like on here? Like, is Skybound considered a publisher, or are they just an
that's
imprint?
No, they're an imprint.
Kirkman
Okay, an
is
imprint.
under Image. He's an
Okay.
imprint.
Okay.
So Kirkman has, I mean, honestly, Kirkman has just as much right to be on here than Todd's 12 issues of Spawn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
Where's if Todd's on this list and not Eric Stevenson, then Kirkman should be on this. And no offense, because like I said, I'm out of the weeds. Who is the third dude?
Mark London.
Mark
Is
London.
he who they put in charge of Boom? I'm not familiar with him at all.
This is what I'm getting at is Mad Cave.
Okay.
So
What did Mad Cave do this year?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. So
He's
this
keeping it afloat.
Now-
I mean, they're
now-
doing decent books, but
Unless they're
nothing-
advertisers on the beat.
Now,
But
there's
other
nothing
than that-
really moving the needle there.
I just wanted to go through that quickly to show some of, not of who's on it, but who isn't on it. And to have a best of the year stuff, and this isn't just shitting on Heidi, it's shitting on most of the industry and the disconnect, and most of the people writing the best of the year list. Omitting Mark Spears to me is fucking wild. And to not have Mark Spears mentioned in an end of the year best of list for any site in the comics world is fucking wild for me. Record-breaking blind bag launches, nationwide midnight events, massive retailer participation and appreciation, fan-driven word-of-mouth hype that translated directly into sales. One of the few organic success stories in comics this year. If that should be a person of the year, in my opinion. And I know, listen, you guys, we love Mark over here. He's a friend. But anybody out there that can't say that Mark Spears shouldn't be in the running for person of the year in comics is fucking crazy.
I know.
Didn't we have a discussion? This is like deja vu. Didn't we have a discussion on last year's end of
at the end of the year? I did that interview with Swaggle House, and I said what I thought were the 3 needle movers of 2024. Okay, and I made 0 money off of the Mark Spears game in 2024, but just from my peripheral vision, I saw the Ultimate line, which of course petered out. I saw Absolute, and I saw Mark Spears, and I talked about those. Then we came on this, and I said, this Mark Spears Monsters is definitely going to be a needle mover. The free comic book day, you need to be on it. Clearly I was right because they're selling for $5 to $10 a piece, and it's an integral part of the story and the mythos. But I have been zero on the Mark Spears game, and it is unfathomable just to watch from the sidelines. It's kind of like watching the Lions lose year after year, but you saw Barry Sanders run for 100 yards every game. You can't then just say, well, the Lions suck.
Yeah. If it's about impact on comics, he should have been front and center. Him, Scott Snyder.
This is the old guard gatekeeping.
It really is. It really is.
Now, I want to talk about one of the glaring things from this list, other than the omittance of Mark Spears. And that is, at the end of this list is a comment or a write-up called Negative Impact Person of the Year.
You know what? You guys mentioned this, and it made me sick.
And
it made me sick.
I'm going to give Heidi credit just to read this, so I don't, put words in her mouth. She says, honestly, I didn't know what to call this category, but you can supply your own words for the person who was mentioned several times. Steve Geppi. He may yet bring down the entire direct market. Steve Geppi, but for all the wrong reasons. Steve Geppi for getting cute and getting out of his business and making the whole thing into a train wreck. Systems are broken, employees are scattered, history is scattered, publishers are financially hit, and stores have to scramble to survive. That felt like and don't get me wrong, I understand why Steve has some ire, especially from some people, but to call him out as Negative Impact Person of the Year is very surprising.
How about the people that didn't pay their $33 million bill?
No.
And nobody who has the balls to stand up and go, I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
It just felt like a cheap shot, kind of, and it minimized decades of his
anybody who's
building.
been in this industry for at least 8 or 9 years knows, and I love the man, so don't take this as a negative or me trying to heap on. Steve suffers from an equilibrium problem, which has taken him out of the game for 8 or 9 years since he had that. I forget what it is, but he can't stand for too long. Okay. But when you watched him at those retailer summits, and you've watched some of those speeches on your shows, Brian, on YouTube, that is a man who gave a fuck about this industry. Yeah. That's a man who put his dick on the fucking table and said, I'm going to fight. And even when DC fucking left and COVID happened and he had to make that decision, and I stand by that decision. I think there were some other decisions that might not have been as smart, but what he did, he went out into the trenches and said, we're going to make our comeback better than our setback, or whatever the slogan was. He didn't have to do that. He's been sick for a long time. He wanted to do that. He needed to do that. That's a man who fought for this industry. It was a losing battle, because once you lose 30% of your business to another, sub-distribution, and once your retailers rack up a $33 million fucking debit and nobody's paying you back, and as the publishers produce some very questionable content during that time, which made the customers run away from the comic shop.
I'm telling you, nobody ran up that debt on weekly comics either. They ran up those debts on exclusives.
Funkos and exclusives and all the other shit in the back of the book. So to throw Steve, who I do not believe was sitting at that captain's wheel when they saw the iceberg. He was sitting at home while somebody else was at that steering wheel and ran it right into the iceberg. And we all know that. We talked about that on this show. She mentioned several of the names of the people who were steering into that iceberg. Okay.
Yeah, but we can't, but he isn't infallible in this, that also, but no, I get what you're saying.
No, but
yeah,
he was not at the wheel. He was not at the wheel. He has not been at 100% for many, many years. And for the most part, I think it's a very cruel thing
To kick
for
a man when
Heidi
he's
to
down.
do, to kick a man when he just lost the empire he spent a lifetime building.
If I was to do a best of article and put some actually time into it and do something, and I don't want to sit here and not give Heidi credit. Heidi, we love you over here. This isn't shots at you. Please don't take it that way. We respect what you do in a major way. You do this. I could never do this. It takes a lot, and you've been doing it a long time. But if I was to sit down and write an article, the best stuff of the year, the best people of the year, I would look at it obviously from the fans' perspective. What does the fans want in comics? Excitement, discovery, scarcity, collectability, community moments like what the comic shop used to be, going into the comic shop, seeing your buddies there talking about, did you read the latest Walking Dead? Did you read the latest Energon universe? Did you read the latest Mark Spears Monsters? Fun. Did you get blind bags? What did you think of the blind bags? I would talk about that stuff, right? And that's how I think most comic buyers would look at it. The industry talks about control, validation, structures, recognition from their peers, which doesn't feel like it's on the mark. It's not rewarding what works. It's only rewarding what it understands. And so much of what it understands doesn't work in comics today. If that makes sense. I feel like there's this old guard that just, they don't understand how important collectability is to comics. They don't understand who the hot creators are that we love. Like, that's a glaring example. Where is the Energon universe listed in any end of the year stuff? Here's Heidi in the chat. You guys, my response is pickled the people. I did not pick them. Thank you. I get that. She says she did not write the article. Thank you, Heidi. Heidi, if you're not busy, we would love to shoot you a link and have you come on. You're more than welcome. I know we didn't reach out to you before.
And you don't have a baseball game to watch, so you don't get to use that excuse.
So I really feel like that disconnect is strong. And a perfect example of that is what happened at the end of the year with the blind bags through Marvel. That was such a fuck up on what could have been such an important thing. And if you look at the year of 2025, to me, what does 2025 represent in comics? It represents the reemergence of nostalgia and Transformers and G.I. Joe with the Energon universe. It takes me back to being a kid again and getting into comics, going to the store, falling in love with another issue like Monsters the way we have. It reminds me of being excited about that stuff, getting back into comic shops, and being excited about seeing and talking to people. That's what 2025 reminded me of. Falling in love with new creators and artists. The vast majority of what the industry had to offer in 2025 felt like a failure. The distribution problems, the fulfillment problems, breaking of street, distribution companies not coming out and saying what, the street date problems,
the two publisher or the two distributors deciding to take San Diego not as an opportunity to say, all right, guys, we're all going to roll our sleeves up and we're all going to work together and we're going to save this industry that is in turmoil because of Diamond's bankruptcy. No. Okay, we're going to do the Penguin Random House 1 hour at the retailer lunch, and then we're going to have everyone kicked out of the room and bring in the other group of Lunar, and they're going to talk for 1 hour, and neither shall the two pass. Yeah. That's what we got.
Zabit says customers don't know anything about distribution stuff, Brian. They just buy books they like. Tell all the customers that wanted Ultimate Endgame Blind Bag that, bro.
Yeah, no, they could have solidified blind bags if they had nailed this.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of trepidation going forward for anything other than the people who have been successful at it.
I'll go one step further, guys. I love you, Heidi, and it's self-serving, but you'd think the show that had the interview with Bruce Ogilvy and was number one tip of the spear on the entire Diamond bankruptcy on YouTube, That might have gotten a little mention on this end of the year recap.
That we are the most watched industry show on YouTube.
The most famous comic industry podcaster on YouTube.
Are you sure you're not are you a real retailer or fake retailers, gentlemen? Which one are you?
Hey, I sell comic books, baby. It doesn't matter if they're new or old.
I'm a fake retailer because I'm making so much money on everything
on
else.
Pokemon.
I'm not even chasing collections anymore.
Yeah.
So there's so much money in comics, and I love comics and I still read them.
Yeah.
But I can go to all these other places and buy stuff, and the margins are so much better. The sellers are so much more easy to get along with.
Brian, do you remember when I agreed to do this show? I wanted to do one thing every episode, which was ask our guests, what is a comic shop? And we did it for a good 10 or 20 episodes. But then we got the point, which was a comic shop is where comic fans come to meet and share in their passion, pretty much. It didn't matter whether it was a Pokemon shop that sold comic books or a comic shop that didn't sell anything other than comics. And I think that's what we're still fighting for, is the ability to say it's not. When we watch those 5 Eisner videos, there was something in common with all 5 of those Eisner stores, and not one of them was that it had to be a comic shop that also did all of this other stuff.
Because comic shops are forced
not
to
make
do
money.
that.
No, it wasn't other stuff. Their other stuff was a not-for-profit.
Hey, real quick, I want to respond to Heidi because she says, I just hopped on here by chance, literally had no idea I was being roasted, wink, wink. She says, tell it to my respondents, Dennis. I have mentioned that event many times. And Heidi, you didn't get to see the beginning of this.
Maybe Heidi should have been at the wheel a little bit more than Steve Geppi was at Diamond and pay attention to her website and who's running it into an iceberg, Heidi.
No, Heidi, we did mention, Heidi, that that your article was based on results from people that you sent out, creators and industry people. Yeah. So we did mention that. And that's why, I keep on saying,
I don't remember
we love you, Heidi. We're not taking shots at you. So
I missed my email. I get a lot of emails. I might have or must have missed it.
Well, listen, it's just points of view, and I think that.
Yeah, but it seems like so much of the comics industry now is all popularity contest. The Eisners have been destroyed. The Ringos have always been kind of like, oh, vote for me, kind of like, please.
Oh yeah. And it gets chilled. I know a couple people that got their Ringo by telling everybody in their ardent fan group to get in and vote. So
because you can vote every day for the next 10 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
This for me is America. Integrity and shame. People have neither anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting, to say the least, to see 2025 end on the foobar that is the ultimate blind bag mess up. And it'll be interesting to see if the Daredevil blind bags can fix any of that. So, yeah. Heidi says, I have been sending the survey I have been doing the survey for 13 years and no one ever paid any attention to it before.
Well, look forward to 13 years of us paying attention, Heidi.
Hey, Heidi, I'll say it again. I've said it many times. The comics beat is 1 and 2, depending on the day of where I go to get my comics news. So keep up the good work.
And Rich is a distant third. Only because his pop-ups ruin every time I try to read one of his articles.
People are saying not ordering any Daredevil blind bags. I've heard many retailers say that they're dropping off from that immensely. And that's the other crazy thing. I would love to see more talk about like that in the industry. That the blind bag thing has caused such a, whether you want to call it negative or positive form of excitement in the hobby, it's caused excitement in the hobby. And
yeah, when you can get $20 for a $7 item,
yeah,
it's a home run, right? It's listen, we don't have anything that has margins like this.
Well, but you know, first of all, I'll defend Heidi and Heidi's respondents. They could give two shits about the secondary market.
You're
guarantee
right.
you.
You're right, and
Okay?
that is where.
So, but
yes,
that's
you're right,
but
Dennis.
that's not. But that's also
that's
a
not their
litmus
fault.
test.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not their fault. It's a litmus test. And the fact that Scott Snyder is on this list and holds the highest secondary value next to Mark Spears on that list, next to Todd and next to Jim, you know, the fact that those three guys maintain a high level of quality that elicits a high secondary market value pays attention to people like us who know both of those worlds.
So I want to real quickly then, I want to talk to you guys about that. So let's go over some of those things, what we would think. Let's save person of the year for the end. Publisher of the year. Emmett, who do you think is publisher of the year?
I think DC. I think DC should be publisher of the year. You know, nobody's been perfect. Nobody's hit home run after home run. I think DC has a lot to think about their main line and how to get that as successful as Absolute. I would say that's why I wouldn't pick that editor, because I think it's the editor's responsibility to make sure the stories are getting written well enough and to come up with the type of interest things to put in there to make people interested in getting it. And maybe if she was the person that came up with the DC compacts, then I would say she deserves it, because that was the best-selling item. Forget everything else. I've never sold more trade paperbacks than since they've come up with these compacts. So
I'm going to go the opposite direction of you, Emmett.
All right.
I think Image was, and I'll tell you why. Image started out the year with that G.I. Joe Omnibus Kickstarter, because was that this year? That was the beginning of this year, wasn't it?
No.
Brian?
Say it again.
The G.I. Joe Omnibus Kickstarter that did like
last year.
5 million.
Last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah, but
okay.
I think they did they do the Transformers one at the beginning of this year? I got to look.
I don't think that was nearly as successful, but let me I'm going to spell out why with multiple hit points.
Yeah.
They started out beginning this year with that, which put them on the map, and then also hit that nostalgia bait really hard, which gave them a lot of wind. Everything that Kirkman rolled out in terms of the Skybound Energon universe, whatever it's called. Okay. All of that was all needle movers for what I think is still the number one reading base of this industry, which is old men like us. Then you go Ghost Machine. Okay. That's
not under Skybound. That Ghost Machine.
No. I said Image.
Under Image.
I said Image.
Yeah. Image.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then when the shit hit the fan, what did they do? And this is no offense to Nikki. Don't take it as such. Did they sit around and do article after article whining about how much money Diamond owed them? No. They pulled up the big boy pants. They said, we're going to go someplace else. They immediately made a deal someplace else. They immediately said, we're done with Diamond. We're not going to complain about all the inventory.
Different structure in their business. Different structure in their business. That's a totally different.
I understand it's a fuck over for the people that they are represent. Right. But the point is at no point did I look at a moment and go, Image is saddlebagged.
Image didn't lose any of that money.
Right. And the people that did, but I haven't heard any people complain under the Image roster of, oh my God, they got rid of 20 G's worth of my product. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen an article about
they
that.
can't do it. There's nothing they can do about it either way. Because there are times when Image will say, "Hey, do you want your product? It's
Right,
not selling anymore.
exactly,
Do you want all of
exactly.
it? If you don't want it, then it's going to go get shredded."
But what I'm getting at is Image took a giant tailwind and they rode that tailwind and did not show a single sign of slowing down. And if you look at that cover price list, they had multiple spots all across it. That means the customer bases are there. The people buying the product is there. Okay. And then, and I'm going to say this with all due deference to our boy, Mark Spears, they had the biggest mainstream blind bag of the year,
Battle Beast,
which was the Invincible Battle Beast.
Yeah,
blind
I
bag.
agree. I'm right there with you. I put
so
Image as publisher of the year too.
When you put the preponderance of that up against KO, Scott Snyder, Absolute Batman, what we have 13 issues in an annual, right? Is that all? That's pretty much
15,
what we have.
15 in an annual.
15 in an annual across a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell me anything. And Red Hood controversy.
Yeah.
Tell
that
me.
sold one book, and that book.
Right. But what I'm saying is,
yeah.
What I'm saying is,
but those trades was the biggest
pile,
mover. It's bigger than all the blind bags
for you.
I can guarantee you. Now, I can't be just for me.
No, but here's the thing.
It's not just
Where's
for
the
me.
rest of the retailers talking about it?
We were talking about it when it came out.
You were.
Okay.
Talking about what when it came out.
I talk to retailers that aren't in our circle, and nobody. You're the only one that mentions.
Okay.
I'm just saying. You're
mentioning what? What am I missing? Mentioning
the compact trades.
The compact trades.
I'm with Dennis too. Emmett, you're the only person that I've heard talk about it.
Okay.
So,
but
and
rightfully so.
I'm not diminishing it.
Yeah,
that's
not diminishing
somebody
it.
doing their fucking job.
Yes, that is. Yes, and they're great. They are amazing, and I agree with you, Emmett. They should be talked about more. But I agree with. I think that about the only thing that DC did, in my opinion, is the absolute stuff, and I think they got lucky.
Way, Emmett, hold on, Brian. When you and I sat through DC's presentation at San Diego, did they mention the compacts once?
I don't think. No, I don't think.
No. When we sat through Jim Lee's speech at the thing while all the retailers were lined up for a free autograph, did Jim Lee talk about it once?
No.
So clearly, it's not on their radar enough to push it as a success.
Well, when something's a success, you don't have to talk about it.
Yeah,
well,
you need it to be bigger success.
Here's what I also look at with Image. I think Image has made comics so much more fun than 2025 than anybody else out there. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and I didn't even get to Liefeld and Youngblood.
Yeah, nostalgia with the Transformers and the G.I. Joe stuff. That's my number one stuff of the year, right? To me,
and it spawns.
All the Energon Universe stuff is the high point in comics for me this year, because it takes me back to being a kid and my love for the IPs, and then back to being like a teenager and reading those Blaylock and Tim Seeley era G.I. Joes and how good they were when they were each coming out. And you know, the three main reasons that I look forward to reading comics every month are two of those reasons are out of Image, right? And that's a big deal to me. So I agree. I think Image is publisher of the year. Okay, creator of the year. Let's go to creator of the year. What are your guys' thoughts on creator of the year?
I think it's probably a three-way tie. If we're gonna enter the world where three-way ties happen, Tynion, Mark Spears,
and Scott Snyder write more
Scott
books.
Snyder.
Yeah. They write. Spears is writing the one book, and then he did a short project, right, for but it hasn't come out yet, right, for Spawn.
Yeah, Spawn 77 is coming out
right.
This year. Yeah.
But he's also and we're only talking creator, but Mark Spears did 20 other covers for other publishers throughout the year.
Yeah.
As well as variants and exclusives and a Kickstarter. And I don't think he missed a deadline on Monsters this year, did he?
No, he wasn't the one that pushed
not
blind bags. They did.
Yeah. Right. So I would say that just as when you say creator, you have to include writer, artist, interiors. Mark Spears probably burned more midnight oil than either of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would put
doing a book every month is quite a bit.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
would put
every
Mark
2.
Spears right in between Tynion and Scott Snyder.
I have a question. How much do we think Scott had to do with writing the Absolute stuff?
Everything.
You think so?
Yeah,
he had that idea 2 or 3 years before you saw it.
Yeah, right after Reacher season 1 came out.
So, in my opinion, depending how much Scott had with writing Absolute, I would put him up there with Mark, in my opinion. Now, I think that Mark just caused too much excitement, and Zabit's going to continue to give me Homer shit, but I get it.
I have a question for you, Brian. Same exact question. How much? And I don't know if you know Kirkman that well, but I have my kind of overview on Robert. I don't know how much Robert does in the Skybound universe I think he kind of does a napkin pitch, kind of like Stan Lee did. Hey, this issue we need Jetfire to fight.
No, when he puts his name on as the writer, he's writes it.
Yeah,
right. But there's some where he's co-writer on it, right? There's a couple of those.
Well, then I'm sure he.
Well, Daniel Warren Johnson had the basically could do most of what he wanted on those first 13 issues, or not for first 13 issues. So what was it, 25 issues? And but the funny thing is that now Robert's coming in and he's changing a bunch of stuff. So it looks like he didn't have a lot to do with those first issues because he's changing things.
That's the only reason I'm not throwing Robert onto that tie for 4th.
Yeah, I put Tynion up there too. Yeah, because his output was unreal. I mean, the amount of stuff that he put out.
What did he have? At one point, he had something like 6 or 7 titles in a month.
Yeah,
right.
It was nuts. It was nuts, and quality.
Which is
he writes every one of them.
Yes,
and he writes every one of them.
It's good, but not good too. Like you need your books to drop correctly so you're not competing against yourself, which Colin Bunn did.
That's true
for years.
Stop it, Colin Bunn.
I'm a big fan of Colin Bunn, but he was competing against himself.
I think that so creator of the year, I agree that those 3 guys are on the list. Tynion, Snyder, depending on how much Scott had to do with writing the Absolute stuff.
Yeah. But I would put Kirkman and Daniel as a very close second into that 3-way tie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just from word of mouth and the people that I talk to loving all of those series.
And listen, I'm going to say for the marketing aspect, I wouldn't have said this if Dennis didn't bring up the fact that I think that for the most part, and this is no shade at all towards Adam. I like Adam. I consider Adam a friend, but I think that YouTube and social media has done more marketing for comic books than anybody else in the industry. Brian,
I'm telling you, Mark Spears would not. I love him to death, but I don't think Mark would have sold 350,000 Monster and the Wolf blind bags if it weren't for the fact that you gave him the biggest platform on this network, YouTube network, to tell everybody about how amazing this was going to be. Maybe 100, 150 if it was without the Beyond Wednesday network. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I say,
to me, that's marketing. That's marketing, Brian.
Yeah. I think that's what I think marketing has become for comic books. It's the word of mouth. It's flipping through your IG, seeing videos like mine, like Comic Toms, like Black Crown Comics in the chat, Cover Price, Key Collector, like all that stuff keeps people buying comics. Whereas I think, and this is a great point. Heidi says y'all are ignoring the bookstore market. You're right. We are. But there's a reason for that. Because I don't think the bookstore market is the same as the comic market.
No.
It is not.
And if that's the case, 90% of the publishers backdoor more books through Amazon than they ever do comic shops. And that's the Amazon market. So what's that?
And let me tell you what, the Amazon market, nobody is pulling the numbers from Amazon on comic sales
Nope.
because I don't think they know how to pull them.
Well, no,
And
they
so-
don't. The point is that is such a nebulous market that you couldn't pull those. You couldn't do a book scan with Amazon. You take those rankings. You have to do that every hour, every day, to be able to see how that ranking fluctuates, just to see how many books were sold. And nobody could do that because the algorithm's too big.
So,
But
Heidi says the book
top
market
10 would be totally different if you saw what was selling on
you got it. Yeah.
Amazon.
Zabit says, Heidi, well, Brian doesn't really believe many people read comics. He thinks the majority of customers are collectors. And he's right. I think the majority of people that buy comic books these days don't read the comics. Let me put this in a better way. I think most people that buy a comic book this day, like if they go to a store and they buy 20 comics, they might read 3 of them. They might not even open 15 of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
because
you're
of variant
absolutely right.
covers. Yeah, because of variant covers, I think, and all that stuff, floppies are not read for the most part. And that's what I mean by most people aren't reading their comics. I'm not saying that people aren't reading comics. I'm saying they're not reading all the comics they buy. And maybe Heidi is right. Okay, so we got to look at the book market for those big buys like the absolute editions, the omnibuses. But let's be honest. Are most people reading those? No, they're putting them on their shelves behind them, still in the freaking wrapper.
It's not just that. If the comic book industry were so relevant to the book market, Dogman would have a floppy comic book once a month just to cash in on it. But he ain't wasting time with us. He's releasing his book through Scholastic, through the book market. He knows what he's going to sell on Amazon. He knows what he's going to sell at Walmart. He knows what he's going to sell at Barnes and Nobles.
This is the problem, is that they've always been chasing the book market.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, here we go. One more thing. And this isn't a piling on Heidi, but did either of you guys see a single Japanese name in that entire list of the people? Because I guarantee you, I sold a lot more fucking manga than I sold comic books this year.
Well, that doesn't mean it has to be a Japanese name, but I get what you're saying.
Well, I mean, all the best manga is written by people.
Oh, I get you. Okay.
So you would think if
I thought you were talking buyers. Yeah. I thought you were talking buyers.
Dan to Dan was the most talked about anime or manga in my store. Okay.
But when trade paperbacks a long time ago took off.
That right there, what Heidi just put up is very important. I don't mean to interrupt you real quick, Emmett, but I got to. She says, the children in my family all love comics, and they don't go to comic shops. There are many different audiences. I respect that you are focusing on a specific area. And she is right. I think that it's such a different audience these days than what the old guard realizes. I think that they're skipping audiences. They don't realize it. You know what I mean? Like the generations have
the whole format of comics changed because of trade paperbacks.
But let's go back to that.
There's now 6-issue arcs.
Yes.
Let's go back to that list though.
No, but that's a problem for people to come into the comic.
No, it absolutely is.
And to build readers, which is the long time.
Scott Snyder isn't on that list because of how many absolute Batman Volume 1s he sold in bookstores.
Right.
I would swear by that, because guess what? I didn't hear that list. Heidi, do you know that number?
It's a lot because they sold out. They're in the second print.
Well, no, I understand it's a lot, but how much is a lot? Because I know when I talked to the guys back in the days, what a high successful selling trade paperback would sell is nowhere near what anybody thinks
now.
it is.
That's why they look at the book market so much, because they've kind of really pushed.
Right, but Scott is, what I'm
trade.
saying is Scott is not on that list because of absolute Batman Volume 1 trade paperback or Volume 2 and Volume 1 trade paperback. He's on there because he has the #1 selling consistent comic book in the comic book industry at comic book stores.
So Heidi's kids love comic books. Where do they get them?
Probably
So she's
from
saying
her.
the kids in her family.
In her family.
Yeah.
So probably from her. But here's the other
Scholastic.
thing. Here's the other
Scholastic
thing.
book sale.
I read all my stuff digital nowadays. All of it is digital. And it's
Yep.
just easier for me for what I do. So I understand that the audience changes depending on what they're reading for, why they're reading it. The vast majority of the comics I read is because of this show and this channel. I read comics to know what I'm talking about for this. I don't read everything, but some people don't think I read anything, but I read a lot because of this show. I don't want to come on here and say, oh, the Energon universe is amazing and not know anything about it. I don't want to come on here and say,
Evan, can I ask you I want to ask you a question to see if you
Sure.
remember this, because you're old and you might have forgotten. Remember when we walked into the show at the beginning of Friday morning when San Diego
Which
was in
one?
full swing?
San Diego?
Be
Yeah,
right back.
yeah.
And remember that giant line at Viz Media that you had to go to get into a
yeah.
line, into a line and wrap
I get
around?
manga. I get it.
No. But then we walked to the back and we took that picture of you and me holding up the Superman thing from the Warner Brothers DC Comics booth where they were selling variant comic books and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
What line was 10 times bigger than the other line?
Oh, definitely the Viz Media.
The
one.
Viz Media line was 10 times longer than the DC Comics Warner Brothers line. That means something. Even if it's at San Diego, that's our Mecca. Okay. And if everybody at Mecca was wanting to touch this wall instead of that wall, we would start asking the question of which religion is more important. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's not an argument. I mean, manga has taken over. They've allowed that to happen.
Right. But
it is not a better product.
In 13 years of Heidi sending out that thing, nobody is talking about manga. Manga doesn't hit that list. That's how outside in the weeds, outside gate kept the needle movers of this industry might be with the mainstream hardcore comic people.
Well, the thing is that there is a thing that has come to the culture of America, and I'm going to go to the bigger thing is that people's feelings are truth now.
Yeah.
So because people feel like manga is better and they buy the manga, people say that it's better. It sucks. Its storytelling is bad. It's culturally bad. And it's just popular because it's the thing.
It's all him, people. Don't look at me. I'm all on the manga trade. But here's the thing. I am in a unique position that I have an anime and manga store that's separate from my comic book store.
I bet it's doing gangbusters.
And the thing is I'm constantly expanding the anime and manga sections.
Sure.
And I have kept comic books in the exact same. We expanded actually 4 feet around for more comics, but you get my point.
People are still sending their stuff in to be graded, even though they've heard and saw all the fuckery that's been going on for the last 4 years, even longer in grading. But they're like, oh, gotta grade it. It's the thing to do. Everybody's doing it. If you want to get the best price, even though it's all bullshit.
Well, so Derek, what was the volume though? What was the number of units sold and where were they sold? Also, I would also kind of add to that. And that's something that our industry does not share. Because it can be number one according to DC and according to BookScan.
ICV2 is who he's
right.
quoting.
So they're using BookScan and they're using Lunar's sales numbers. But that doesn't tell us Amazon, and that doesn't tell us units sold in each one of those months.
To me, that was another one of the glaring problems with the industry is there is no way to keep track of what's hot based on sales.
There's no more
there's no way. And there is a way. When I talked to Adam on a show, he did bring up one that they're using, but it's not enough of
125 retailers that subscribe to one POS system isn't enough.
Right. What you need is something that fits onto POS systems that everybody from whatever POS system they get. So we all don't have to buy one POS system.
Yeah. Here's some other interesting stuff that I think is that for worst of 2025, I think the grading companies is way up there. I think grading was such a fuck up this year in so many different ways.
Are we going into that one?
Well, we don't necessarily have to get too deep into it, but I think that is one of the big problems. We saw all the stuff happen with CGC. We saw all the stuff happen with PSA and everything that's going on now. Yeah, I mean, it's just, and less people want to grade things nowadays. And I've seen a vast is my favorite word this show, but I've seen a ton of people stop grading, cracking out their stuff. Somebody just said it in the chat. Scott said, if I find a key graded, I open it up, because that is what's happening. And more people are wanting to buy stuff raw. And that includes cards, in my opinion. So
actually, total pause. Did you know there's a thing called ECG?
Yes.
The European grading company.
Yeah.
They grade 9.5, 9.4. They do all of the little sub numbers all the way up and through. Wow. And my buddy bought a bunch of those, and I'm like, oh, I want that one. He goes, nope, I'm cracking them all out and getting 9.8s and 9.6s, because they were 9.4s and 9.5s. Yeah, and they're apparently really brutal. And he wants to get more money for them. But we haven't even touched it. There's a world market out there that we don't talk about.
I've already had the guys from Living the Line on, Brian. I need to have them on again. Here is the interesting part of all this show, and I hope Heidi's still here to hear me say this. I think what I hope happens in 2026 is that this platform, whether it's YouTube, whether it's social media, or Beyond Wednesdays in general, I would love to get more of the industry involved. And what I mean by that is I would love to have somebody from Marvel reach out when we have a show about questions about something, reach out and say, hey, I saw your show and you were asking these, here's what's happening. I would love to have somebody at Lunar go, hey, we're hearing the problems with the street date issues. Here's what's happening. I would love to see the industry get more involved in in what I think is the best part of the market, and that is this social media content creation world, because it moves the needle. We've shown that it moves the needle. If the YouTube and social media world starts talking about a book, it causes books to sell.
Unless, Brian, and I'm not trying to be snarky, unless nobody watches you, because you have zero authenticity.
Yes. There is definitely, but that's the thing. Like, show us the authenticity of Marvel. Like, you're fucking Marvel Comics. There shouldn't have been this happening.
Corporations and people always do this. This is a good segue to in the other article that
let me say the one thing that I wanted to say here before we move on from this, because this is more of a retort to Brian. I said this 15, 16 years ago when a whole bunch of retailers were pissed that Marvel didn't address this problem or that problem, and DC kind of brushed a different problem under the table. And I'm like, you don't get it. And this is right when Avengers was coming out and Captain America and Thor, and they were just at the beginning of this entire next boom, right? I said, Marvel is the pretty girl at the dance. We need to be happy that they're still sitting here. Now, things have changed a lot in those 15, 16 years. But the fact that Marvel still shows up to the dance, I think, is what you need to look at. Are we, if the prettiest girl at the dance farts in the fucking punch bowl and then walks out, they're still showing up. I honestly think there's a point where Marvel's going to be like, this isn't worth it.
I think both Marvel and DC are getting close to that point. Yeah.
Well, I think DC is going to be forced and Marvel's just going to say, fuck it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's the right attitude, but
no, I'm not. I'm saying that will never happen.
What?
They will never walk away from this. If they turn into a licensing company, okay.
That's walking
the company
away.
will license it. No, it's not, because the characters will still be in comics. Comics
No,
will
no,
still
no,
be
no,
made.
no, no, no. There will not be a Maven to be editor in chief of DC Comics. If
No, they won't
Netflix
have
sells,
employees. They will have a sales team selling their licenses.
Yes.
right, but
By
does that
group, just like there's a Batman editor.
Yeah, you want
somebody
to
will
do a
license
4-issue Batman series? It's going to cost you $400,000, and you can
Yeah.
only here's the rules to doing a Batman book.
Yeah, and to me, it'll be fan fiction at that point.
Yeah,
Listen to what Jim Lee said as DC enters its 100th year. The characters written by DC Comics is what's going to matter. DC Comics hires Scott Snyder. DC Comics hires Tynion. DC Comics hires, Mark Spears to do variant covers. Okay. If it all goes over to Dark Horse tomorrow, they're going to pick whoever random writer. They might pull Frank Miller out to draw a variant cover or something. I don't know. But it's not going to be the same as Jim Lee giving a shit about the DC characters and picking the people to do those books. And that's what Jim was trying to say. Sure, you can make it.
In the corporate world, and I wish Jesse was here, licensing is super successful. You have no infrastructure. You don't have to hire anybody, and you just license each thing. And the characters that suck ass will still make money. They don't make money for DC. They can't even put books out by them.
Emmett,
somebody will want to license.
You're old enough. You're old enough, and you have parents and grandparents. Did you trust Craftsman? Did you trust Craftsman as a brand?
Yeah. But they're still
buy
selling.
a craft? Do you buy a Craftsman tool now?
No, but they're still
selling. Why don't you buy a Craftsman tool?
Yeah, what changed?
Because I still have my Craftsman.
Right, you have your old Sears Craftsman.
Right.
But when
Sears didn't make shit. They didn't make anything.
When your wrench breaks, what are you going to buy now?
Craftsman?
You're not going to buy a Craftsman because it's made by a cheap Chinese or Mexican company that slapped a fucking logo on it.
Cheapest,
because Craftsman sold out as a license.
Depends on what I'm using the wrench for, okay?
Yeah, so there's so many that everybody's using every day in their house that sold the names back in the day.
Right.
That's like anybody who's wearing a Converse shoe, and there's a lot of nerds, and I know nerds wear Converse.
Mm-hmm.
You are not wearing a Converse sneaker. You are wearing a licensed, unless you have one from the early 90s before they went out of business as a shoe company.
Right.
There's 13 different shoe companies that make Converse.
Batman, written by the Dark Horse publisher, is going to be a Craftsman sold at Walmart.
Star Wars was. I don't think Star Wars was.
Not until Marvel took over. And you look at those numbers. When Marvel took over,
we're not talking about numbers. We're talking about quality. Those are two motherfucking different things.
I think Kieran, what's his name? Kieran Gillen.
Yep.
His Darth Vader. Better than almost everything I read at Dark Horse.
Yeah.
And I read back in the day, I read almost everything Dark Horse put out.
Yeah.
That's why they're mining all of Dark Horse for all the characters that they created and all the stories and some of the novels, which was neither Dark Horse or Marvel.
Actually, they're not mining those for characters. They killed all those characters.
They decanonized them, and then they started picking them. That's where Ahsoka comes from, right? And that's where.
Yeah, but where's my Mara
doesn't
Jade
come
comic?
From Dark Horse. Ahsoka comes from Dave Filoni.
Mara Jade was one of the best characters ever, and she doesn't exist.
Well, this brings up, I was getting into whether or not, this world moves the needle and makes things happen. Now, it's funny because I talk to these guys backstage a lot, and or in our little meetings and stuff, talking about the show, and I say, I would really love to get Christine Merkler on the show to talk about Street Date and if that's important to Lunar as a publisher anymore. I'd love to do the same thing with PRH if there's somebody at PRH. And Dennis is the first one that goes, "Yeah, I don't think she's gonna come on this show. I don't think. I don't think.
No, she went on somebody else's.
Well, hold
interview.
on.
She got
She's
interviewed.
gone on 2 shows.
So
She's gone
then,
on 2 shows.
then I see this. Does DCBS get preferential treatment from Lunar Distribution? And I went, well, somebody must be listening to Dennis. By the way, Christine, if you come on the show, we will treat you with the
comic industry podcaster on YouTube. Dennis
we will
Barnes?
treat you with the utmost respect, Christine. So please,
Brian definitely will treat you with the most upright respect. I will call you a liar because in the interview that that
wait a second, that's my job, Emmett. Don't steal shitting on Lunar from me.
Well, no, it's just what she said. So, when I used to do investigating, you just let people talk and their lies will just come out. They can't help but tell the truth after time. So she says, nobody knows who's being picked because of the system. You don't know who you're picking for. But then later on, she says, usually we get picked last. Well, if you don't know who the fuck is getting picked, how do you know you got picked last?
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that one, Emmett. That's
Two
a good
things can't be true.
And explain what you mean by picked. Explain so this article basically talks about.
You're going to have to read it. Brian, read this and then we can discuss.
Okay. One of the express concerns about Lunar Distribution becoming the major comic book distributor in the U.S. is that they are the same company as the biggest comics retailer in the USA, DCBS, and in-stock trades. And so not only can they access data of all their competitors, but they can also secure the best deals, take advantage of stock levels, and use that combination to outperform their competitors.
They are definitely listening to this show.
When Image switched from Diamond to Lunar, Brian Hibbs of the Comic Experience in San Francisco said, quote, "I am extremely disappointed that Image is forcing us to buy comics from DCBS, the single largest competitor of retailers everywhere," end quote. And of course,
looks like Brian Hibbs is listening to us too.
Of course, without Diamond now, he has little choice. Christine Merkler, co-owner of DCBS and Lunar, talking to David Harper of Sketched on the Off Panel podcast.
Hold on, can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
Important. Co-owner of Lunar and DCBS. There's there's a huge conflict of interest that we'll get to after you finish this.
Yeah. Basically, here's what Christina says. She says, no, when asked if they give themselves preferential treatment over, say, stock levels, she said this: no, they don't. I mean, they get the same email that everybody else gets for solicitations, new product updates. Our entire system is built and based on when you order it. So anybody who placed an order by FOC is going to get their books. If something happens, and this does happen every once in a while, where somebody sends an extra carton to somebody and we get to the end of the week and we're like, where's this carton that we thought we had that's not here? And it does happen. DCBS is one that gets screwed out of the deal because they're the last one picked every single week. They probably have the least amount of preferential treatment because of where they are in the pick. DCBS is in the parking lot behind us. They're in a different building. But so they're the last one picked by virtue of the fact that they're indeed need it last, and they need it last technically. If we run out of anything, they're the ones that kind of bear the brunt of that. And there are times when we have to get back overages from people, and DCBS won't get their stock until they are actually returned. So we always hope they return them. It is all system-based, and no one in that warehouse, I have 100 to 110 people picking at any time, and probably 3 of them on the whole floor even know I own DCBS and in-stock trades. And they don't know anything about the actual stores. They're just there to pick and pack and just do it right. What? So if you don't think that your employees know that you own,
okay, we're doing the order for 100 copies to Midtown. We don't know who it is. We're doing 100 copies to Lone Star Comics. Okay, we don't know who that is. Where's this 5,000 copies order going to? Oh, right next door, right into the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, show me one fucking UPS invoice where you shipped it from your front door to your back door, and I'll believe that nobody knows where that's going.
Yeah. There's a huge advantage, and she knows it. And she didn't admit to it. You know, she could have said, "Hey, about the shipping, so we don't have any shipping charges." You know, we benefit that way. Hey, when the 10% overage for nobody picks up overage because everybody had no damages, what happens to that? And do you
I'll
pay
share
for
this
it, or
with
do
you,
you just
Brian.
move it?
I'm sharing this with you in our regular chat.
Okay.
This is one of my trips. I just happened to drive. My mother and I meet in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's a halfway point between where she at. This was years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember what year it was. But this was their front door when I was making all those complaints, when I was telling the industry, what the fuck are you doing? It was all under one roof. They took a second warehouse behind their main warehouse, and that's where they moved it. It's still the same entity. You can't tell me they don't know. But here's the thing, and Emmett, you hit on this, and I'm going to steal it because it'll make me sound smarter. When the entire industry submits their orders on FOC day and they see a spike in sales of Batman, Absolute Batman, et cetera, you don't think they have that knowledge? The woman who co-owns both companies is putting in her.
They don't have to do any studying. They don't have to do it.
Right.
What every store owner has to do. Yeah.
And I will reiterate this. As the owner of both of those companies, if she's not doing this, she's fucking stupid. Because if
she's not coming on the show now, holy cow!
No. But if
she's 100% doing it,
if
100%.
I saw the fact that New York comic shops increased their orders for Batman by 20%, I would sure as fuck be putting in ad buys for everybody who lived in the New York area who loved Batman for my service of DCBS to sell them a 35% off Batman comic book.
Yep.
If you're not, then I don't know how you're in this business, because you would use insider trading like that. And even if you didn't pull up the report, well, I want to see what the increase in Batman is in the New York area. Okay, you don't have to. You're going to be able to generate a report that comes across your one desk. And when you walk to your parking lot to your other desk, that's going to be stuck in your head. Yeah. Wait, they're increasing Batman by 20%? Hey, guys, let's do some ad spends in New York on Batman comic books.
Mm. Well,
there's just too much. They did not divestify them. I see zero reason any retailer should put money in the hands. I agree with Brian Hibbs. I don't see any reason why any retailer would put money in the hands of the biggest predator for your business.
I need Image books. That's the only place I can get Image.
Yep. I want to run something by you guys that I was going to use this for another show, but I would love to jump into it tonight because it's kind of interesting, and I'll speed it up if it takes too long. But I came across this video that was put out at the beginning of December by a big content creator called The Comic Book Guy, 7,000 subs. He did this video called "If Your Comic Shop Does These 10 Things, Run. Comic Book Store Red Flags." Over 30,000 views on this video.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
these
it
guys
yet.
Are right in the algorithm. I haven't watched this video, but they had another one before this, and I mean these are the same, the taping the sign up that says we're going to look up the book. It's all the regular same stuff. It's just like they're right in the algorithm.
Yeah. By the way, great background. Look at those killer skateboards. So, all right, let's run through this. I'm going to speed it up a little bit.
What about though? What is their store about? Are they about skateboarding and pop culture, or are
comic
they about?
No, they're just a podcast.
They're just a podcast. I guess. All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
In no discernible order of like, what's the
red flag number 1, charging for the price at the counter.
Gets up to the counter and the owner or the sales clerk or whatever says, oh, wait, let me check on the prices of these. He then looks and says, oh, these have gone up in value. They're now $25. That's a bunch of crap.
What would you do if you walked into a shop and that happened to you? Would you pay? If like
No.
even if you wanted the book really bad?
No.
You wouldn't pay at all.
Because here's the thing. Here's my
And we agree with that, right?
Yeah.
No, great point.
I
We
don't
agree.
do it, but I don't 100% agree with it because there are collectible markets.
Well,
Magic
and the
cards,
one
Pokemon
caveat I say to
cards.
that, the one caveat I say to that always is, I'm Willy Wonka. I can always limit you to one everlasting gobstopper. If you want to bring a stack of 20 of the same book up because it all went higher, I could say, I'll let you have one.
All right, here we go. Stealing from the pull boxes is red flag number 2.
Number 2, I'm going to jump on stealing books from the pull box. Let's say you're on a subscription, and this has happened to me as well. A little hole in the wall store opened up.
Yes.
They were only open for like 6 months.
Yeah.
I went in there and I was like, hey, I need a subscription. I just want Amazing Spider-Man. That's it. Do you remember the Amazing Spider-Man? I don't remember the issue. MJ's on the cover in the Iron Spider.
Yes.
Issue 600 something, 700 something. I forget. So I say, hey, I just want Amazing Spider-Man. I say I'll come back in like probably 2 or 3 months because, it's just 1 book a month or maybe two books a month.
Hold
I'll come
on,
back when-
pause. Fuck that guy. Guess what? You're the reason why Jamie held up that sign 1,500 stiffed. You do not let your poll sit for 2 to 3 months.
3 weeks and I empty your box.
Boom. Exactly. Thank you, Emmett.
There's 5 or 6 of
I
them.
already
No
know.
problem, he says.
I know everything I need to
disappear,
know about that.
And he's got no back issues. It's mostly a gaming store, right? So I turn around and I go back 2 months later. I'm like, hey, I'm here to pick up my Spider-Man books. And he says, what's your box number? 17 or whatever. I forget. I don't have any books here for you. What's your name? You don't have a pull sheet here. I'm like, really? And he was like, yeah, well, there's another guy sitting there. And he goes, what was supposed to be on his pull sheet? And he goes, Amazing Spider-Man. And he goes, oh, I know what happened. And he outed the owner of the store. He's like, remember that was Amazing Spider-Man XYZ with the Mary Jane cover.
Yep.
And for sure, I mean, I don't have proof, but sure enough, I think he was like, oh, I'm going to just snag this and sell it for $20 instead of $3.99.
He pulled it out of there because it was a high demand book at the time.
Yep.
Well, if you're not picking
That's
up your
not why.
pull box
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're that
2 months later and the book
yeah.
has gone to $20 and you want to buy it for $3.99.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I
'Cause guess
agree
what?
that stealing
Guess
from
what?
And if it doesn't do well, you don't ever pick it up.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
all right, here we go. Continue. Red flag number 3.
3.
Marking up new book
marking
prices.
up brand new book prices.
Now, this could be kind of like the same thing where it's like, oh, I got that book for you, but I want more for it.
Well, I just saw this happen.
Yeah.
It was me and Guy just did a video about the new Terminator Metal book.
Great series, by the way.
Just came out.
Yep.
You can go to any store and buy it still.
For $4 or whatever.
Yeah, for cover price. They still got them on the shelves. I went to another comic shop where this guy, he has no new books. All he sells is like old stuff. And I'm going through there and he has that book, in a little box, a little separate box, and he wants $20 for it.
Multiple copies.
Multiple copies of the same book. And he's asking $20 for that.
Yeah.
When do you guys think a new book can be priced up?
I'll tell you
Monday.
my old rule. The second Marvel or DC would announce the second printing, all books on my shelf, that you're not going to be able to get the first printing. And I have the option of raising that book. Now, if I ordered 100 of that book, I'm not going to raise the price of 100 books because the second print, I'm probably not going to order the second print because I got plenty of the first print. But something like Saga #1, oh, hell no. When it went to its second printing, I'm like, okay, I put the second printing out at cover price when it comes in. But if the first print's going for $10 on eBay, I'm not going to let you come in and clean out all my first print Saga #1s because your store wasn't smart enough to order 100 copies.
Yeah. So I do all the way through Sunday. Sunday close, but you can only get one.
Everlasting gobstopper.
Right. So listen, we have a lot there as a retailer. We have a lot of flippers that prey on us.
Yep.
And like everybody thinks that, the flippers are the best thing in the world because they're so smart and they know. They don't know. They're following something on the internet that I was doing something else and didn't see. I'm not going to let you deplete like my regular customers that come in, somebody who never comes to my shop. They rush up and they're like, oh, do you have any?
I'll give you a perfect example. So I ordered 1,000 copy of Spider-Man Meets Obama, right?
Yeah.
I ordered several hundred copies of the regular and 1,000 of the Obama cover.
Yep.
Every single poll member in my store got the first print, Obama meets Spider-Man, the one with the date night on it. If you came in and you were one of the people that, I had a line out my store the entire week of people wanting to buy that book. I had more copies than everybody. And we went by market price. We started at $40 a piece for the first 100. We went to $60 a piece. By the end of the first day, we were at 100 because they were selling for 125 on eBay. But if you were one of my poll members, and if you came in and you were one of my loyal customers and you did not have Spider-Man, I gave it to them for $20 a piece. One at $20 if they wanted to, get that special variant with Obama on it. That was the hottest book in the country, in the world.
So Dennis, how many collections come into your store priced? And how many of those people want you to pay the cover price of the book?
Zero.
Right. They don't come priced, and they want they want you to use your knowledge.
Yes.
Tell them all the books that are worth money, and then pay them a fair price for them.
Yeah. And that's why I pull them out. I do the good, bad, and ugly.
And we do that. But it's not good to do it the other way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that continues on to their red flag number 4.
Yeah, I agree.
Scamming.
All right, number 4. Let's jump into this one. This one is maybe, in my opinion, the worst offense of any of these on this list. Because in my mind, this feels like stealing. And, I'm a pretty honest person. Somebody comes in to sell some comic books. Let's say they got something really valuable in this box full of comics. Let's say it's Amazing Spider-Man 129.
Mm-hmm. Or Giant Size X-Men number 1.
Sure, $1,000 comic book.
Their husband passed away and they just want to get rid of this stuff.
They got $1,000 comic book in this box.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other crap. Hey, what can you give me for this? Oh, it's all worthless. $50. Mm-hmm. If they're willing to rip somebody off to turn a buck for any reason at all, but in particular in this scenario, I wouldn't be friends with the person if I was originally friends with them. I'd be like, you're a terrible human being. Like, this is horrible. You are stealing from somebody.
We've talked about this before. I think we all kind of agree. Karma, but comic book karma is real, and it'll fuck you over if you fuck other people over.
Nobody will bring their collections to you.
It's why I get almost every collection that comes through my door, because I go through, I pull out all of the key books. Yeah. I explain to the person. This is why I think I told the story on this show where my buddy's like, I never look through all the books. Well, because I looked through that book, he brought out that Walking Dead number 1 that I ended up getting graded, that PSA graded one, because I went through the books, and as I was talking to him, I have that one in the house, and as I pulled out the 98, the New Mutants 98 and the 87, and started telling them why I'm pulling these out. And then there were the minor keys, the McFarlane, like 316s and stuff like that, and that's in a different pile. And I'm like, okay, here's the bulk price for the long boxes. Here's the price for these. And here's the bigger price. You can take one, all, or none. It's up to the customer to decide. But because good retailers do that, they're partially right, but I would argue that these guys have never been on that other side of that table that have to turn a profit and pay an electric bill and pay employees.
Not only that, but I would say that these are all antidotes. They didn't actually happen to them. These are all things that they've picked off the internet, so they can make a list, so they can get 30,000 views on because that's the algorithm.
All right, let's continue.
And I know people are going to do, there's going to be people in the comments
red flag number 5.
That's my 2 cents.
Overgrading and overpricing.
Let's move on to, where are we at here? Number 5.
Okay, yes. Overgrading and then overpricing your comics.
Yeah.
That's not a big, that's not a dirty business. It's just bad business.
It's just, it's not very consumer friendly.
Yeah, because if you're at a comic shop.
Or a con, you're talking about
a con, and like, okay, this guy's, a graded book is a graded book. You know what you have.
Yeah, sure.
But raw books, and you're calling it, very fine.
And it's not even a very good on a good day.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing, take the book, take the time, and take it out of the bag and look at it. Duh. If you're dropping like $100 for a comic and you're not doing that, then there's something wrong with you. Or you just got money to burn that you don't care about. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm taking the
that's the
comics.
buyer,
I mean, hell,
not
I just bought a
the
$20 book and I
store,
wanted to
right?
take it out of the bag and look at it. And lo and behold, the cover wasn't attached.
Yeah.
So no thanks.
That's not a $20 book anymore.
No, it's not a $20 book. I mean, I would use that as toilet paper. But yeah, sometimes, like
These
I've
are
said before,
these are
people have
the
an
worst
overinflated
kind
sense of
of
value.
snobs.
Yeah.
You guys are so funny, man. You immediately just go negative on them. You don't even know these guys. You don't know.
Okay, Brian, would you buy a Detective 27 that had a cover detached?
It depends on what I was.
Or would
like-
you use it as toilet paper?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I know what you're saying.
Fuck
but-
these guys.
Yeah. And then
Jesus.
and they're saying that we're overgrading, but that's so that you have to get it graded. Right?
And I'll go one step further. Tell me that neither of these guys have ever haggled on a price at a comic book store.
Every time.
Every time and twice on Sunday. These guys haggle every key book that they want to buy from a comic shop. I guarantee it.
All right, here we go.
If they even buy comics, because these are just not comics in the background.
Yeah.
Music
All right.
and
Red flag number 6.
At least a ballpark.
Yeah.
Dirty, messy, disorganized. And we kind of talked about this not too long ago. So I'll let them say their
To
thing.
me, that's
So
the
number-
first red flag.
What are we on here? 6, I think. Yeah, 6. Disorganized or dirty or messy shops. I mean, this isn't like bad behavior. This isn't like you're a bad person. But if I go into your store and it's dirty and dingy and dusty and God forbid, like moldy and mildewy and buggy, oh, forget about it. I mean, you got to take care of your inventory, or like, what's the point of being in business? And the weirdest part of this, we were talking about these earlier, is like when you got a really disorganized shop and you're like, hey, what's in those boxes buried over there? And they're like, don't know, but you can't look.
Yeah, they don't want you like digging through their stuff. That's like, what? Well, how am I supposed to look and see what's in there? I'm a paying customer.
Well,
No,
here's what
I'm
I'll
okay.
say about that.
You haven't paid $1 yet.
You haven't
Here's-
paid $1. You didn't walk in. You didn't buy a fucking ticket to walk in the door. If the collection just came in and you're too busy helping customers, you don't get to dig through that collection before I get to go through it and price it.
I will say this. Sometimes, though, if I walk into a store that like feels like that, I'll get a little excited and be like,
Yeah.
there is some treasure to be hunted in there, you know?
It is a honey pot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But at the same time, I understand that like I don't want the store to stink.
No,
I won't
you
be
don't
in.
want it filthy or
It'll,
stink, but
yeah, it'll. I'll leave.
disorganization happens, man. If I get 3 collections back to back, it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Dude, you've seen when I've come on this show and I've had collection after collection. You think I have time to go through each one of those? No, I stack it behind the counter. And if you think you're going to dig through that before I make the time to do that, I don't have to sell it. I don't have to sell it to you.
Yeah, I bought it. I own it.
I bought it. I own it. It doesn't go for sale until it has a price sticker and it's on the floor.
All right, here we go. Red flag number 7.
It's a maze.
It's chaos.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Number 7. That's on
they
you. What do you
wouldn't
got
like
here?
me one
Rude,
bit.
elitist, and bad attitude by the employees.
Yeah.
I've
Wait,
encountered
hold
this a few
on.
times myself.
Wait a second.
I do agree for this one.
No, I agree, but also I know for a fact these two are rude and elitist and have bad fucking attitudes when they see one of the red flags that they don't
Yes,
like.
they are very
don't think-
elitist.
You don't think they gave fucking shit to the owner who had that Terminator book for $10 in his box? I guarantee you, both of these guys, one of them saw the book and the other guy dude, you've got to come over and give this guy shit. He's got that Terminator book that's everywhere in town for $5 and he's got it in his box for 20. Yeah, no, these guys totally give shit to fucking retailers every time they walk in.
All right, here we go. Continuing. Red flag
Sorry,
number
kid.
8.
No, go back. I want to hear
apply
what
to
they're...
the-
You want to hear that one? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I want to be more enraged. Jesus,
To me,
why
it's
did you
chaos,
warn
yeah.
me about this one?
All right, let's move on to the next one. Number 7. That's on you. What do you got here?
Rude, elitist, and bad attitude by the employees.
Yeah.
I've encountered this a few times myself. Most of the time, I just, water off a duck's back. I don't mind. If you got some good books there, good prices, hey, I'm your guy. I'll buy from you. I don't really care about your attitude.
Wait, what's a
But
good
what has
price?
happened to me before, I have a son, and, he was younger at the time. And, I'm sure you've been too. You've been to a comic shop where people are having discussions, and sometimes they get pretty passionate about things. All of a sudden they're dropping F-bombs, and, you know what? I'm there with my son. I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry, we're leaving.
No, we're not talking about your 16-year-old son.
No,
It's
no.
like 6-year-old.
Like you're with a 6, 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. No, you need to check your behavior. Your customers in the store with children, you can't be using language like that. And that happened to me a couple of times. So yeah, be aware of your customers and stuff that are there. And and not just kids too, because some adults can be offended by harsh language too.
Sure.
If you want to run a good business, maybe you need to check your language. I mean, if you're BSing with your friends there, that's fine. But when other people come in, maybe you need to tone it down.
Yeah, tone it down a little bit. I agree.
I
Be
agree
professional
with
when you're.
him that nobody who works there should be saying those things, but it gets said. And the thing is these are public places.
Right. And here's the thing also, and I'm not going to be too mean to these guys, but I don't think they handle this. Emmett, you've had neurodivergent people in your store that do not know the safety rails of public thing. I am not going to go up to a 16-year-old autistic kid that drops an F-bomb and tell them, hey, these trendy hipsters are offended by your F-bomb and Tourette syndrome. Can you please leave my store?
It happens. Not
it happens.
Tourette's, but they can get, overstimulated by something, especially with all the stuff in the store, and they can then start saying the word.
Yeah, and the thing is I've had 2 guys geeking out over a book. Oh my God, that was the best fucking book I read last week. Okay, I'm not going to go up and tell them, hey guys, if they go on a Dennis Leary tirade with FFFFF, I'm going to go, hey guys, we're a family store.
Yep.
But now, yes, I've had my employees playing the music in the store, and all of a sudden I hear an F-bomb, and I'm like, and oh, sorry, I didn't realize that was, yeah, you did, but you didn't until I told you. But that's not the beginning of this. They're telling anecdotal stories that are trying to make this better. I know exactly what they're. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Number 8.
Ooh.
Apply to the local shops as well.
Poor packing and shipping.
Poor packing and shipping. That's what I got here.
What does that have to do with a comic book shop?
Yeah, that's not. See? See,
Here's
this
number
is more of
7. No, that's 8. Number 8. And I have had it's funny how this is playing out, because all of these, this wasn't by choice. It just so happens that every time we named one of these, it was like, oh, that's happened to me a bunch. That's happened to me a bunch. This one has been plaguing me for months.
Pause. Hold on. Are we going to hear a blue tape mafia, guys? That's already. Do you remember the blue tape mafia from 5 or 6 years ago?
Yeah.
That's already. I'm smelling it. Go ahead.
Dealers, sellers, whatever you want to call them. I mean, in some cases, dealers, like big dealers that move a lot of inventory, send me expensive books. And for me, expensive is $200, $300, $400 in nothing more than a Gemini mailer and the book and the bagging board just rattling around inside there, not taped down, not secured to any sort of like filler board. And they just throw it in the mail and like, I hope it gets there. I mean, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say when I get books that are shipped that way, loose in a Gemini mailer, they are damaged minimally 35% of the time. I'm talking 3 or 4 out of 10 orders come damaged. And what happens is the corner of the book gets up into the corner of the mailer, and then that gets hit by something. And now you can.
I can't complain. I don't think that, how a comic shop ships their books should matter if when you walk into a comic shop, if you see that they're this run, you know what I mean?
You get a lot of stuff through the mail, Brian. You buy and sell stuff all the time. Is 35% a real number?
No.
Probably 5-10%.
Especially here's the
thing. I'll give them 10%.
I make my own. Brian, you've received one of my T-mailers, right?
Yeah, they're great.
If you order $100 comic or more, you're getting that book in a T-mailer, and that T-mailer is then dropped in a box with bubble on or peanuts on either end. Okay, so I don't know anybody that does not treat $100 comic book or more that way, and I don't know anybody who sells $200, $300, $400 comics regularly that puts it in a T-mailer and just shoots and holler shit. I just don't.
And hopes it doesn't rain.
And their feedback isn't representative of that level of poor performance.
Right.
I think these guys are over exaggerating. I think they both are butthurt over one order each that they received.
No, they're trying to get views.
Yes, you're right. You're right, Emmett. I don't know why I was thinking of it.
Here we go. Red flag number 9.
Who doesn't have a box cutter?
Anyway, Moving on.
Blocking buyers online. This is going to be very interesting. I haven't seen this either, by the way.
Oh,
guys.
I guarantee
this,
you, I blocked both of these pricks.
Oh, hold on. This is going to be great. Hold on.
That was me. So you're on this one here.
Okay, yeah, blocking buyers on eBay. Yeah, because this happened to you
A couple of times, as a matter of fact.
where somebody had sent you, like, they packaged it poorly.
Yeah, we set this up perfectly.
Or they misrepresented the grade and condition, because that's happened to me. Where as to the grade and condition of the book, and you get it and like, whoa, this is not how you described it.
Yep.
Okay, this is not the condition you described it in, or you packaged it poorly and now it's damaged through your poor packaging.
Yep.
And so then you return the book, but then you go back later and try to buy something from again, and you learn that they blocked you now.
That's happened to me a couple of times now.
Why would you go back and buy somebody that gave you such bad service?
A fucking man. Yeah.
Fuck you.
That
you
means,
are so full of shit.
And I guarantee you that seller probably got 10 messages before buying the book.
Yes.
And then each one of them was like, I need you to make
send
sure
me pictures of the inside of page
yeah.
2,
Yep.
3.
And then purchased it and immediately I don't think this was the same condition as the one in the picture. I think you missed this, and I would like an extra $50 off the price of this book. And you did not mail it to me in a T-mailer in a box, and I would like more money back, or I will leave you negative feedback. Block.
Yep.
Yeah. And they might send you back a different book.
Yeah. I think that one of the biggest, most crazy thing that happens as a retailer who sends stuff through the mail and sends a lot of stuff on eBay or whatnot is there's this entitlement that people that buy things from you think that, like, because they bought an item of yours that you have to treat them like they're kings. And it's like, no, just send me back my book. I'm done with you. I don't.
Yeah, no, and that's what I do 90% of the time. When they ask for an additional refund, I'm like, oh no, sorry, I don't do that, but I'll give you 100% refund if you return it in the exact condition that we sent it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And 90% of the time they keep it because they know the scam won't work. And the 10% that don't are just pissed that they didn't get away with it.
Right.
All right. Final red flag number 10.
You sent them for some reason one time. That seems excessive to me.
Yeah.
Let's get on to the last one here. Number 10. What do you got?
Well, this happened to me just recently, where I buy a book on eBay.
Yep.
I was trying to complete my Batman Dark Patterns run. Batman.
I'm pretty sure you just said Batman.
Batman?
Don't buy Batman.
Batman Bat Issues, or my Batman back issue of Dark Patterns. I needed number 5. That was it. That's all I needed. So I found this guy on eBay.
Which is, what is that, like a $20 book or something?
No, it was...
I don't even need to finish this. This is, to me, such a joke because the title is, if your comic shop does these 10 things, run. 3 of these things have nothing to do with a comic shop.
eBay.
Well, hold on. And guess what? A person selling their comic books to a comic shop, 99% of the time, are not a customer of that store. A customer is somebody
100%.
who comes in and buys items from you. A person who comes in and sells you a collection is a seller, and you are not their comic book store.
Well, this had, like I said, over 32,000 views and almost 500 comments on it.
Okay, can we read some comments? Because there's got to be somebody like us in the comments.
I bet you everybody is like kissing their ass.
Everybody, yeah. Hey, being a comic collector for 45 years, I can relate to everything you are saying. This guy says, oh, Matt, say it in so. Toilet paper? I agree. A detached cover severely compromises the market value of a book, but please don't disparage otherwise intact, complete readers. I love beating up old back issues when they are priced right. I'm glad my comic shop doesn't do any of these. Yeah, I thought it was interesting to bring up as a kind of like a blind EFAP, but man,
here's the thing is that do these people shop at any other fucking places? Because Amazon wouldn't kiss your ass.
Walmart.com
if you spent all your money
not
there.
have the 99.5% feedback my eBay store does.
Walmart.com won't give your money back when you get fake Pokemon from one of their fucking dealers who's actually a partner with Walmart. You have to go through 2 or 3 weeks of trying to chase your money down to get a refund. What they expect from us is way more than they expect from any other store they go into.
No, I know. The thing is I guarantee they don't have a 10 red flags when you go into a skate shop. I'm sorry. I've gone into skate shops. Brian, I know you love the culture. Almost every comic shop I've ever gone into is cleaner than every skate shop I've ever gone into.
Okay, I got something on the positive end now that we've been talking about this for a while. How live selling platforms has changed not just our hobby or the industry, but our lives in general. And another person that we talk about a lot on the show put out a crazy post about live selling that I immediately said, "Oh, I'm going to show this on the industry show."
This is literally a fish being sold on live shopping. This is on Whatnot. Here it is. This is a koi. This is a fucking koi being auctioned off on live shopping. I need you to understand that 2026 is the year of selling things. Listen, look, it's literally being auctioned off right now. This is the clip. I just went on Whatnot, found this koi being sold, recorded it, so that I can make this video to explain to all of you. You need to devote 5 hours to your homework on live social shopping. People are like, what do I sell? What do I do? Where do I do it? This is a fucking guy selling koi on Whatnot. This fucking koi selling. It's $30 right now with 16 seconds to go. This is an incredible era where live shopping will become a huge opportunity for so many of you that try to be content creators. Get on it.
And those guys are just waiting for the top 10 red flags of buying kois online.
Gary V, and you know,
he's my god, dude. He is my god. I hail at the altar of Gary V. He is the smartest guy in the room.
He's a dickhead, but he is damn smart, man.
He's my kind of dickhead.
He'll tell you what you need to know in a disparaging way, but hey, man,
yeah,
he's right. And I remember Jesse back when him and Sean Hudachko were dipping their toes into the world of live selling back in the day. I remember Kyle telling Jesse before he started that, Jesse, you need to start selling live on Facebook auctions. You need to start selling live from the store. And Jesse was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Kyle goes, no, man, trust me. You need to look into it. And the next thing we know, here we are. Jesse's one of the
guys.
Old
I have to do the 5th show of the evening at 3 a.m. Yeah. I gotta let you go.
So shout out to Jesse. But that is exactly it. Jesse has always said to me, any comic retailer out there that can't make money in this day and world has not created a Whatnot account, has not created an eBay Live account, does not sell online, and that's a problem because it is available to anybody. All you need is a phone and a pair of sneakers. That's literally all you need. You can walk from garage sale to garage sale and sell it as you're walking from each garage sale. You know what I mean? Like that is, and I am very surprised these days to hear ever that there are brick and mortar comic shops out there that do not partake in online live selling.
Well, I can't get into eBay and I won't do work with Whatnot. So I have to wait for somebody else to come along.
I don't understand. You don't utilize any like Facebook Live Marketplace, none of that stuff?
No.
Man.
No, I do sell on eBay, but just like your regular eBay.
Brian, here's the thing. I'm going to play Emmett's advocate here for a second.
Well, Emmett's not struggling. Emmett's not struggling. So
that's okay, but that's the thing. There's a point. I've been live with eBay now since you were, okay? And I've been off of Whatnot for 3.5 years, 2.5 years. I don't remember. I don't care. I understand the importance of selling it, but I also understand the importance of I'm fucking old and I want to do other things at 2 a.m. Okay. I love Jesse. I wish I had his fucking energy. You know, McRib, the man's powered on McRibs and fucking Buc-ee's. Okay. But I want to relax and spend time with people after I get out of work. I'm doing just enough work. I had the most amount of money in my bank account at the end of a year this year. Okay. I don't need,
I could do Whatnot. But
I wish I could. I wish I had that, not Whatnot, but eBay Live.
Why
I
can't
wish
you?
I had to do it.
Why can't you?
Because I have rules. I'm a person that needs a path. So the like a gutter in a
bowling alley,
in a bowling alley. I need a place to stay in, because if I was in there and got in on all their fuckery, it's
eBay
only
Live
2
is
steps
different.
away from hookers and cocaine.
I know, but eBay Live is a different beast.
You just can't get on. You have to wait for somebody to say,
I know,
"Hey."
but that's not what. But what I'm saying is you're also at the point at the time the juice isn't worth the squeeze for Emmett right now. Okay, but if this dips and that floods, there might be a time where Emmett's like, you know what, I'll do one of these. But I can just tell you, Brian, you used to watch my shows.
I need 2 more people. I need somebody really, really good at comics. My kid's
Brian,
good,
you used to watch my shows, but what I never tell people, and this is the first time I'm telling people, I used to spend the hour before one of my 2-hour lives on Whatnot. I would spend an hour just kind of meditating and focusing to be able to get that energy. I had to make sure I had the exact beverages that I needed to drink, unsweetened iced tea or whatever it was, to make sure I had it so that when I was on, I'm giving 110% to my viewers and my customers, etc. And my energy level was high. And if I can't give that service on eBay, I won't do it.
Yeah. Well, see, it like watching them going to the conventions and watching these guys doing live and a lot of people are impressed by that. To me, I saw that all my life. That's the ShamWow guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fucking guy selling cutlery at the flea market.
Yep.
Like it's all fake.
Well, I'm authentic. I mean, I literally give them Dennis for an hour.
Yeah, no, I know, but like the guys who are making it on Whatnot and stuff, for the guys.
Oh yeah. I have watched a lot of those guys.
Look what I got! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Look at this.
Those
pop.
breakers. Those really overhyped breakers.
Yeah.
That half of them are robbing the cards after they pull the biggest card.
Well, that's what the UK thing was, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that you guys, especially Emmett, has an outlook on Whatnot that hasn't been Whatnot in many years now, at least a couple years. I think Whatnot has cleaned up their act in the comics part of it. I don't think it's a bunch of fuckery going on. But I also think that just because Dennis, you don't have the time to do it, or Emmett doesn't have the time to do it, doesn't mean it would be bad for your company to hire somebody to sell on Whatnot.
Oh no, I'm working on that. That's what we're aiming at in the next month. Yeah.
So I think that it's there. A lot of people still give Whatnot that shit sandwich type review because they have a sour taste in their mouth, which rightfully so. I get it, but I don't think it's been that way for a couple of years now. I think they've really cleaned up shop over there. But that's for you guys to decide. All right.
Are we doing what? Didn't we have one more that we were gonna?
Did we talk about the guy that got in trouble for breaking street? Was it Midnight Events?
No, that's what I thought. We were gonna wait for Jesse on that.
Okay. Well, this is what it was. So this is another comic shop, I believe, Kaboom Comics in McAllen, Texas, that made a post on Facebook. It says, it has come to our attention that someone has reported our midnight releases to both DC and Marvel with some misinformation. As we work on resolving this issue, it is with great sadness that we have to cancel this week's midnight release. Future midnight releases are still up in the air as we resolve any issue with Marvel DC. We are not sure who reported us, but whoever it was isn't too happy with the events we host. Now, it sounds like, if I'm not mistaken, they're doing like midnight sales on
every
Tuesday.
week, though.
Every week.
Yeah.
This is kind of interesting because Marvel and DC or Lunar hasn't done anything to the people that were selling Mark's stuff, but way before, which there was a rule.
Just that. Here's the. Can I want to interject because Brian, you probably don't know this. Jesse stirred up a whole hornet's nest when he was doing a midnight release for every Walking Dead, despite not being 100. And he was doing midnight releases because he's a fucking wind up, symbol monkey. Okay. And he loved that. And there were a whole bunch of retailers that were bitching and moaning. And then Midtown Comics decided they were going to open up at 7 a.m., I think. Emmett, do you remember this story?
Yeah, vaguely.
About 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And Diamond Comics made a statement that said, if you are a comic shop, you cannot open before 9 a.m. and sell street date comics. And that was all because all of the comic shops around Midtown complained that we can't compete with Midtown opening at 7. We all open at 9 or 10 or 11. And Diamond Comics policed that. Jesse had to go to all of the different publishers and get special permission to open at midnight and sell his books,
right?
Which they gave him because he was a wind-up monkey that they did not want to turn off. Okay. And he was selling more Walking Dead than almost every retailer in his area.
Yep.
That is no longer there because Diamond is no longer there.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an old school. Whoever that retailer is that's bitching about this midnight release, they're bitching from an old rule. And these guys, I say, let them sell it at midnight. It's street date.
And it sounds like it's creating excitement at their store. People are coming in and hanging out and having a good time. Like that's the wrong thing to.
Right. And Kilted said it perfect. The gatekeeping days. That's what these old timers, fuck those old timers. That's what those old timers are trying to do. They don't want to wake up at midnight and sell comics. So they want to force these guys, Kaboom or whatever their name is, to sell comics at 9 a.m. when they wake up.
The comics chef says this is his LCS and that they don't ever break any street dates or anything. They go all out buying pizza and have candies for the kids. And it usually is a good turnout at midnight or 12:01.
They're creating a market.
Yeah, man. I feel bad for them because they were creating excitement at their LCS, bringing in money.
Let's get them on. Hey, Chef, can you tell them to get a hold of Brian on Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, he said it's crazy because they wanted to join your live feed when we did the monster bags. So, yeah, have them reach out to me, Chef.
Sorry,
IG or
Brian,
something.
I wanted to jump on that.
Yeah, fuck yeah. But again, it goes to show the disconnect again. They aren't complaining about the people who really cause problems and hurt things when they break street date, but they're screwing over. But now they're stopping guys from doing it who are waiting till after quote unquote street date, and they're causing a good thing. They're doing a good thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I again. That's just more proof of the disconnect, of the vast disconnect.
Yeah. GameStop used to make everybody wait outside in the freezing cold, for a game drop on a Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody who did it loved it.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, we don't open till noon, whether it's Pokemon or Magic dropping, and I have people lined out waiting for that to drop. So
yeah,
it's very interesting.
I mean, I think that like Jesse went and got the permission. He had to go to all the publishers and do that. And I think, this store could.
But that was back when. But that's also back when you could literally pick up a phone and call Marvel, DC, Image, and get a permission like that with a phone call.
Yeah.
Man, like I said, this is the first time I've heard that lady's name at DC Comics. But she's the editor in chief.
Yeah, in chief. Yeah.
Right, but that's not who we would call to get that. I don't know who you would call to get that at DC these days.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, 2 hours and 30 minutes. Time for some pickups. You guys get any pickups this week? Anything interesting come in the store?
I sent you that picture. It was in our main thing. I mean, I actually bought so much this week. It would be an hour-long show, just me showing the shit I got. But the one big item was the picture I sent you of the gas globe.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is it's already gone, but it is an Atlantic gasoline globe from like the 20s or 30s. It's double-sided. The other side actually had a little BB crack in it, but yeah, it's great paint, and I did very, very well on it. And I got a lot of other gas and oil stuff, and toys, and comics, and you know, I probably spent about $4,000 this week buying easily, and I'm already in the profit.
There we go. Not too shabby.
Hold on, I'm trying to get this picture. I don't know if I want to. I just closed the deal tonight, so hold on. Damn it.
Do they watch the show? Can we tell them how badly they got ripped off?
No, trust me.
Because we never pay what it's worth.
No. This one, when you see it, you'll understand. I definitely paid full. Where the fuck are the pictures? Okay, I don't have the pictures here. I thought I saved them, but I didn't. Unless they're, hold on, damn it.
Do you have an Apple?
I hate this new. Don't even start with me on this bullshit. All right, I'll share it next week.
Kids talked you into getting an Apple, piece of shit.
I bought a couple pieces of original art tonight, and it's definitely a very big purchase. And you can say there's a double page spread Alex Ross hand painted piece in it.
Nice. Oh yeah.
I got a bunch of sports cards too, but I think those 42s are the 47s that I had were the 1980
reprints,
warehouse find. But I have to put them under a black light. There was reprints done in 1949. If they're those, they're still worth a lot of money. But
well, and Scott, are you talking about Outer Limits in Boston? Because I just saw today that major retailer Steve Higgins is closing. He's retiring and closing. I think it was Outer Limits in Massachusetts, and in July of this year. And I just heard that today.
Well, that's a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
Here was a post that I just saw. Says, from Amazing Comments, to everyone who has been asking about our ultimate endgame, shout out to Music Pub in the chat. This is what 200 blind bags and the biggest embarrassment in the comic community looks like. After almost 2 weeks of radio silence from Marvel, we have been instructed to destroy the books and return them on our dime. What should have been the excitement for the first Marvel blind bags has turned into more work and tied up money for retailers of all sizes. Not to mention all the extra work and browbeating that the poor people at Penguin have had to deal with. As a small retailer, this has hurt us immensely, and to add insult to injury, they are requiring us to pay the return of their damaged product. This has become a joke. Marvel, do better. So sorry to all of you who were excited to purchase and take your chance at getting a hit.
Okay, so that's bad. That's really bad. But here's a question. How many people do you think are going to cut the fronts off and send them back?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I think everybody who bought 1,000 copies to try to pull a sketch, I think are going to be more than happy if they pulled that Robert Downey Jr. sketch to send back 999.
So damaged books will be then rare.
Not really. This, like I said, everybody's going to forget about this.
No, if they cut off the covers and send them back, books with covers
are going to be rare. Yeah. Yes. And you know
so
what?
Marvel may get away with this with like some people like not sending theirs back
We have
because they think they can resell them as
Let's put it this way. Go find every strip cover return book of a major book and see how sought after. Like
how many of those have been?
There were 10 DC titles where the first 3 new 52s were all returnable. Strip cover return. I refused to strip the cover. I would refuse if I bought a ton of these, I'd refuse to strip the covers. I don't believe that our industry destroys its commodity just because it's damaged for a refund.
You know what, Dennis? You know what's crazy, dude? Of again, I use the word vast. That's the word of the day. Drink. The vast majority of the retailers that I talk to have the same sentiments, that they don't feel right destroying, opening up all these blind bags, pulling everything out, destroying it, doing it all themselves. Like, that's a big deal.
But when I said that at a retailer summit, you might as well have heard crickets. The pre-New 52 retailer summit where they said, you're going to be able to return the first 3. All you got to do is strip cover. And I stood up and I said, can't we just figure out a way to do some kind of donation to veterans or troops or something rather than rip our covers off and send them somewhere, And they were like, no, we have to do it this way, Dennis. It's the only way we are allowed to do it.
Well, it's because of the tax code, because they're going to take this as a write-off.
Oh, yeah,
and if they let you keep the whole book, they can't write it off. A certain amount they can, but this drink.
Music Pub said we are sending them the whole book back so they can so they can see the extent of the damage. Let them rip the covers.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're just paying more shipping to them.
I want to ask if Sean is still in the chat. Sean, how badly damaged was this cover that you guys pull? It looks like I can see at least 4, if not 5, major ticks just from this image alone. But I'd love to see how badly damaged the sketch was, the Robert Downey Jr. sketch that you pulled. So
I'll just go out on a limb here. I don't care if it was folded in half. A Honus Wagner folded in half is still a PSA 1, and it's still a Honus Wagner.
Yes, I get that. I get that, but I'm just wondering, how if these got really damaged too. He says 5 spine ticks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the reason I asked that is because that has been one of the biggest questions. People are asking if the art original sketch covers are damaged too, and everybody that I've heard from that has pulled one said they were damaged too. So, all right, this was just sent to us.
Cool.
About the Kaboom Comics thing. They released a message saying, okay, so to make these midnight releases possible, I need you guys to read below the ground rules and how this is all going to work. Our distributor from Marvel, which also distributes IDW, Dark Horse, and Boom Studios, has decided to work with us and allow us to host midnight releases. Doors are now going to be open at 12 a.m. during these releases, and only the publishers that are listed below or above are able to be taken home after midnight of that release date. The distributor...
Here's the thing. That just hurts the customer.
Yes.
The customer is going to come in at midnight, and then they're going to have to come back to get these other...
Yeah, it'll just kill that whole midnight thing.
It'll kill that whole midnight deal. Yeah.
The distributor for DC, who also runs Image and Skybound, allows prepayments on new comics, but unfortunately cannot be taken home during the midnight release. Once prepaid, they will be put aside and can be taken home during our regularly scheduled operation hours. What a foobar. That's ridiculous. So you're saying DC, they're gonna have to pay for it and put it aside and come in the next day? Like there's no reason. That what a joke.
You know what though? I'm curious. I bet you Discount Comic Book Service will sell you a book at 12 o'clock at night.
But because you can't possess it, that's why. That's why the internet is so far superior than the going to a comic shop.
That's why there's red flags.
Oh yeah, you could see. Look at that. I mean,
Yeah.
just trashed.
Send that to Red Hood. He'll
trash.
press it for you.
Yeah, yeah. And that's probably what most of these will end up doing. They'll end up being pressed or just cut off and framed the cover.
Yeah.
But damn, that is still cool that Robert Downey Jr. did a sketch. So
Yeah, because he's a talented
I heard
artist.
he did a couple. He did a
He
Dr.
did.
Doom sketch too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a really
And
that's a damn good sketch.
Sean and
It is.
Kyle at Comics Elite might be two of the luckiest people in the world right now. So go buy some lottery tickets and split it with me if you
Not
win.
bad. Not bad for some fake retailers.
Yeah, for you fake retailers, Sean's and them fake retailers. All right. What do we got coming up? 2026 is what's coming up. The whole damn year is ahead of us.
Yep.
And
Do we want to do predictions for 2026?
that's what I was going to end this. Yeah, that's what I'm going to end the show with. What is one prediction and one thing that you hope happens for 2026?
You want me to go first?
Go first, Emmett.
Okay.
You have you have that youthful, plucky.
I have that
optimism.
Either he's righteous or an asshole, and nobody can ever figure out which.
That's right.
My hope to happen is that the end to gamifying everything. We are gambling on everything, and we know where gamblers end up. Everything is gamified. Every toy, everything.
Every ad on every podcast is
you can and people can inside trade now. Like we're gambling on things where like
somebody controls it.
Yeah, the guy can say, "Oh, I can." Oh, my buddy in the stands. If I pitch it under 90 miles an hour, there's $600,000 on it.
There was that guy who bet
already
on
been
will
caught.
a guy streak and stripped off and jumped the rail and streaked to win a bet.
Yeah,
that is what.
That's my hope, is that we figure out what we've done for all so long. That gambling needs to be in a few places where we can go on vacation and enjoy. The other thing is that it's crushing Vegas and Atlantic City. But a lot of people live and work there, and those people buy comics. So, but my prediction is that people are going to community events are going to be much bigger this year. People are finally done with COVID and staying in the house, and they want to get back out and meet people and talk to people. And if you're doing a lot of community events at your comic shop or in and around your comic shop, you're going to be very successful this year.
Dennis?
It's difficult because the predictions I have are based on a trajectory and a fork that I took in the road. So you'll have to bear with me on that. I'm going to go down that road, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give the other road. I'm going to have the best year of my entire career. I'm going to do things the way I feel that I've been headed. I'm going to do them bigger and better. I just did a survey with my entire employee staff in Toledo, and that I'm going to then replicate and do in Monroe starting tomorrow. It's about, I'll be Jesse. It's about comic therapy, but it's more than that. It's about pop culture and nostalgia therapy for me. It's about making that dream come true for the person who walks in your door. And it's about the needful things that you have to boil it down. We're all Max von Sydow, and they walk in your door, they need a needful thing. They don't want, it's none of it is a need, but it's needful. And I'm going to continue to do that, and I'm going to have the best year of my entire career. With that being said, I'm not going to do much of anything different than what I've been doing. Now, let's go back. What I think the industry I think we are locked, we as collectively the industry, we are locked into very limited forms. And Bruce Lee said, be like water. I think this industry has got to be a lot more like water. We got to sell koi fish if we have to. The hippie record store idea is still out there because as you see Diamond collapse, and as we see Marvel screw up the biggest fourth quarter potential gain for retailers, and now you have to do twice as much work to get your money back with zero compensation for the effort. As you see all of these things that we did not learn from 2025, I don't see a single person stepping up and saying, I'm going to lead this industry. I'm going to help the comic book industry unify and move forward. Now, I'll say this. I am looking forward to Universal laying down, not running a deep discount. I mean, that was the best joke of all of New York Comic Con, Emmett.
Yep.
Not laying down and doubling down on what didn't work. We're going to have new people joining new initiatives, and I'm going to be very interested to see how that plays out.
I think that the crowdfunding world is going to be another big part of 2026. I think that there are more eyes now on the crowdfunding part of the hobby. You know, we have some big names in the comic world that are all about doing their own thing, and you can. Mark has shown, Brian Pulido has shown, Rob Liefeld has shown that you can do this on your own. Rob Liefeld uses Whatnot to sell all his stuff and sells the shit out of it, you know. Brian Pulido started his crowdfunding with Coffin Launch. Mark showed that you can be a guy who's been trying to break into the hobby for 30 plus years. And as long as you stay at it and you work hard for yourself, it can happen. So I think that is going to be a big part of 2026 in my eyes, is that crowdfunding part, whether it's Kickstarter, your own launch thing, whatever. We're going to see the kind of independent spirit awaken again in that part of the world because of the loss of Diamond. And distribution. What do I hope? I want to be able to, and this is both of you guys kind of said it, I want to be able to spend more time with my friends and peers in this industry and go to cons, see each other, you know, fellowship, have that fellowship.
Wake up before noon.
Yeah.
Get to the convention before close.
Yeah. That fellowship is so important to me. And I think that's obvious with Beyond Wednesdays, how important it is to me. But that feeling of, you know, New York Comic Con this year, San Diego this year, WonderCon this year, like those felt right. And I hope that continues in 2026, and I hope to see more people out there. I hope to break more bread with people.
I got one more prediction for 2026. All those fucking deadbeats in the chat that don't hit the like button and the thumbs up button are gonna hit it more often, and they're gonna log into their phone, and they're gonna log into their computer, and they're gonna hit it twice because they know they let me down last year.
Amen. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up. We'll see you guys tomorrow night on Wednesday Night Review. We love you. Adios.